Warning. The following presentation may contain excessive alcohol consumption, obscene language, controversial opinions, heavy metal, and actual wrestling chat. As such, it has been rated M for metal.
Welcome to the Mosh Pit. Welcome along to the latest edition of Mickey's Mosh Pit. As usual, I'm your host, the heavy metal hooligan, Mickey Vago. Now, I hope everyone's recovered from the last episode, my big birthday bash. I hope everyone enjoyed listening to it. We had a riot recording it. I did not have so much fun editing it, but going by the numbers we've seen, it has quickly become the most listened to episode so far. So the multi-man episodes is something I'm keeping in mind that we'll come back to. It can be a nightmare getting guys' schedules to line up for these, but we'll try and make it a semi-regular thing. We'll get a few guys on at a time, maybe every couple of months, and we'll just have a blast with it. And speaking of recovery, the episode you're about to hear now was recorded the night after the big birthday bash. So if you watch the video of this, you will see that I am quite visibly rough. We did keep drinking after we'd stopped recording that night. So I am quite hungover. But luckily, Dino can spin quite a tale or two. So I didn't have too much to do as ways of keeping the episode running. It just wind him up and let him go, basically. I will pre-warn you, though, it is quite a lengthy episode. I did debate splitting it in two, but that's too much fucking editing, so you've got it in one. So, like I said, it is quite the listen. But we did have a laugh with it. Like I said, he has got quite a few stories. So we'll just jump straight into it. So here it is. Dino Del Monte. Welcome along to the latest episode of Mickey's Mosh Pit. Up today, we've got one half of the outfit. It's Dino Del Monte. How's it going, Dino?
Oh, it's going. I suppose I'm alive, so it could be better. We could be out of this. We could be happy, but
Yeah. Well, I think Nate as we record this, but when it goes out, we should be back at training.
Ah, yeah.
Should be.
We're just hoping.
Because
is there any something about a Brazilian variant or some shit like that?
Aye. We'll see when we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But
Copacabana, here we go.
But like that's the best part of the year we've been in lockdown. What have you been up to? Keeping yourself busy or?
Well, I've worked all the way through. I've literally everyone else got time off in that first. Was it the summer?
Aye.
It was a really good summer. It was a really hot summer. Everyone's relaxing, and I'm going to work every day from 8 till 4:30. Absolute raging.
Aye.
So I've never had a break. So I'm kind of lucky because I've never had a break, which is because I haven't had to keep myself, try and keep myself busy, whereas other people are like stuck in the house all this time. Aye. But still, I'd rather have the time off, to be honest.
It's nice to still be in a shoot job.
Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people aren't as lucky to keep theirs, but it was looking a bit sketchy at the moment, at the time, because economy obviously took a bit of a crash. Aye. But I'm still here, unfortunately, but I'm getting paid.
Now, were you one of these guys that were still, like, obviously the gyms were shut. So were you one of these guys that were still trying to keep busy with the workouts or whatever? Or were you like me when I was like the first lockdown, I'm like, I'm going to get the best shape, I'm going to wrestle with a t-shirt, and it lasted about 2 weeks, and it just dropped off a fucking cliff.
Well, I was like, when the lockdown first happened, I was like, oh, okay, we'll wait to be here a few months. So I was like, I'll chill. I went to the gym. I was going to the gym before. I was going like a couple of times a week, a couple hours a night. And then when the lockdown happened, I was like, I'll take it easy for a bit, see what's happening. and then I'll get back in the workout. So I was doing like kind of cardish workouts, you know, like drawing the cards and star jumps and stuff. And I absolutely hate working out. I just hate. Some people like it, and that's fine.
Aye.
But I just hate it so much. Like going on a treadmill is like I can't think of anything worse in my life because it's so boring.
Aye. It's like I can go out for runs. Like I've got back into it just now to get some cardio back before we start training again.
Yeah.
But I could run for miles outside, but seeing a treadmill, I've got no motivation for it.
No change of scenery. That's the problem. But I didn't do much running anyway because my knee, you know, my knee's quite.
Yeah.
You know, we'll get to the story of how my knee became this way. So I was going like the rowing machine and stuff, and that's not as bad because it's a good full workout and stuff. But obviously, I don't have a rowing machine in my house. You know, I don't own a boat to go rowing in the sea, nor would I, to be honest. So I was like, and then when you realised it wasn't getting better, I was like, fuck this. I was like, what's the point? So I completely lost all motivation. Just the same, because I was like, when I'm in training, that's my motivation. I mean, like wrestling's the motivation to do this, to do that. And I'm like, well, wrestling's making me back for like years. What's the fucking point? So yeah, that's a good thing for me to have done, but I'm pretty sure everyone's fucking done it, to be honest.
There's a lot of guys, like obviously fucking Big Caleb, he's fucking daft for it. He's still in fucking shape and bursting his ass every fucking night, but like there's guys like I don't get the motivation for it. Like, and that's why I've been getting running, just trying to get some fucking cardio back. That's
the thing. There's two people. There's people who enjoy working out, and there's people who don't. But they realise the necessity of it. So, like, if you're a footballer, for instance, you might go out running twice a week for your game on Saturday. But like, then there's other people who just work out just to work out. Like, they haven't got a goal of like, I want to play for my team or do my rugby or whatever. They're just exercise to stay in shape, which is fair play. But if I haven't got a reason to work out, I wouldn't. Which I'm really glad that you got wrestling, because if I didn't take up wrestling, who knows what weight I would be sitting at right now.
Like I've put on some. Like I played, like before wrestling, I played football, so I was always in getting decent enough shape or whatever. And like over the years, the belly, it's like nobody else, just the belly's got bigger, and it's probably due to the boozing. And it's like it's got significantly bigger during this lockdown. I was like, well, like I wasn't exactly fucking slim before lockdown, but I had the cardio to carry the fucking weight.
Well, I was thinking before lockdown, I was staying at like the same weight, even through wrestling. And I'll be honest, I wasn't really changing my diet that much. I wasn't like pigging out and stuff, but I wasn't like, I'm gonna have a salad here and blah blah. I was like, I'll just have my meals and that's it, and I'll work out, and that kept me the same weight, you know, basically the same weight, no major changes, and I was fine with that because I could still move and stuff like that. But like before wrestling, I was never. I think I played football for 1 year. I played one season in primary 7 for Cove. It's a Cove C team. I was a goalkeeper.
So near a lot of running.
No, but I didn't want to play football. My brother has played football since he was a kid, and my dad would always go to see his games. And I was like, I don't do anything, so I kind of feel like I'm missing out on father-son bonding time. So I'm going to take up football for no reason. So I tried for my school team, but I didn't get in because I'd done the drills and stuff in the train or whatever. And then at the end, I had like a little mini game, little 5-a-side, basically it was, with his poke. It was there. Boy crosses a ball in. I go to volley it in, and I just completely miss and fall on my arse. And I think that was a deciding factor that I wasn't going to get in, because I was like a very skinny child. Like I was a stick. There was absolutely nothing of me. And then I went to academy, and there was a baker van used to come to academy for Aitken's Bakery.
Okay.
And then so I discovered the roll, and I was having like two of them every morning in the tea time. So I was 14 years old, 6'2", and 13 stone. I was sitting at. which because of my height though, it was absolutely
even to say aye.
But I was 13 stone and 6'2". So I didn't do any of those. I would do like PE and stuff, or gym, whatever one you call it. I would do it, but it's not like I never really done anything. I tried football, as I said. I was really bad at football. I didn't have the coordination. And you can ask Ryan Riley and Ted O'Keefe and Blue Thunder about this. You can ask them before Aberdeen Anarchy 2019, the night before, I think it was. No, when we were loading up, we were putting stuff in the night in preparation, and there was a ball there, and there was obviously a big sports hall. And, you know, I was just going for the overhead kicks and stuff. I wasn't hitting anything, but I've just not got the finesse. So I was like, oh, basketball. I'm tall. All the tall people play basketball. Kevin Nash, Undertaker. But I was too violent for basketball. Because, like, I used to get... Basketball's like a non-contact sport, if you want to call it that. So
it's supposed to be,
It's supposed to be, so I'd get sent off quite a lot, because, like, I'd get a ball, dribble, and I'd go and do the big three-pointer. I'd be a guy in front of me. So I'd bring my knee up as I jump into his chest, and I'd go, wow. And then another one was one of the boys took a shot, bounced back, the other team got in, the boy was running up to try and get the other one, and I came in from the side and I just drove my knee in his thigh, and he went down, and the teacher was like, you're too violent for that. I'm like, okay, so we'll just play dodgeball. No, that's about it. I was good at like not the athletic stuff, but like, you know, like rounders, high jump, I was quite good at. Obviously, yeah. I hated when you do the high jump though, and there'd be like the group of girls or boys that obviously didn't want to be there. They didn't want to do it, and so they just run at the bar and just punch the bar off because they're like, "Oh, I know I'm not going to make it, so why would I?" You know, whatever. So yeah, I was never an athletic kid. I always wanted to be a wrestler when I was younger, but then I stopped watching wrestling probably about 2009. It would have been. So I started watching in 2003.
Started watching.
Yeah, in 2003. I was 5 years old in 2003. I remember the first pay-per-view I watched, pay-per-view match that comes to mind, Vengeance, John Cena versus The Undertaker, where Undertaker's bike breaks down on the entrance.
Yeah, aye.
And that's the first pay-per-view match I remember watching.
Fucking, that ages me something funny.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the time you were watching was like some of the years I wasn't watching. Like, I'd been watching it for me. I don't know, fucking 10, 15 years up to that point.
Yeah, so like, I'd watch. I watched Thursday. I liked Undertaker because he was a biker. He was Big Evil at the time.
Aye.
I don't remember him being Big Evil. I just remember him as the big biker.
Aye.
But looking back, he was Big Evil. I liked John Cena when he was doing his rap thing because I was a 50 Cent fan when I was younger. Because I remember saying to my dad, "Can we go see 50 Cent?" Because he performed in Aberdeen when he released his 2005 album, which was The Massacre. It was called. He'd done a tour, and I was like, "Oh, can we go?" And he's like, "You're like 8 years old, 9 years old. You can't go to a 50 Cent concert. You wouldn't be allowed in." I'm like, "You let me watch Billy Conley, but you won't let me go to a 50 Cent concert." I think it's great.
Fucking hypocrite.
Yeah, exactly. Hypocrite. He shares your name as well, so I think it's just a thing, is it? So Star Wars 2003. I remember watching like Paul London, Brian Kendrick when they were a tag team.
Aye.
That was a bit late. I was 2004. I remember obviously Guerrero. I remember John Cena facing Big Show for the United States Championship at WrestleMania 20. I remember. I never watched WrestleMania 20 all the way. It was my friend had it. I think he had it recorded. And we went round and he was skipping all the matches that we didn't want to see. So I remember watching, was it Edge versus Randy Orton for the Intercontinental title? I think it was. I could be wrong, but I think it was them. And then it was Cena and Big Show for the United States.
Aye.
Then it was who's the WWE Championship? Was that no? That was the Lesnar, was it? Lesnar and Angle.
I'm horrible with fucking gears. I couldn't.
That's
Like,
gonna annoy me.
if you tell me someone about the match, I could take decent guess at it. But like, I'm fucking horrible at putting matches onto shows and
It might have been Lesnar Big Show actually. That might have been, no, because Big Show was on the
big shows. Aye.
So, but either way, and then the main event was Triple H, Benoit, Michaels.
Yeah.
Michaels?
Aye.
Yeah, when Triple H had the white boots on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the first pay-per-view I would have watched all the way through would have been 21. WrestleMania 21, watched all the way through. So that was like Taker, Orton, Cena, JBL, Batista, Triple H.
Aye.
That's the main ones I remember. Particularly Orton and Taker, because that was, I really despised Randy Orton because Taker was my favourite. Because Taker's just cool. Why would you not like Undertaker? He's the coolest fucker in the world.
He was the one that hooked me to start. Well, he didn't hook me to start with. Like Hogan was the one that fucking hooked me because everyone was a Hogan fan when I was a kid. And then when Taker came in, like he was obviously meant to be a heel, and I was like, he's cool as fuck though.
Yeah, it's like Hogan's like got the moustache, long blonde hair, but he's not cool in the normal way. He's not cool in the edgy way. He's not the dark cool as you want people to be. He's like, I'm Hulk Hogan, cheer me. And then Undertaker comes in, and he's like, I don't need to ask for you to cheer me because I'm just cool as fuck.
Aye.
I'm 7 feet tall or whatever, and I don't sell for anyone.
Aye, that was probably the thing. Like you did the sell, and then he fucking did the big setup. I was like, it's cool as fuck.
It's like, and it's amazing that no matter what people's perception of wrestling has been throughout the years, everyone just accepts Undertaker's an interdimensional dead man and has magic powers. No one's like, look at that, looks horrible.
Yeah,
it's like he electrifies the ring, and everyone's like, yeah, fucking yeah.
It's like anything else is like that. That doesn't make sense. That's not logic. And then Taker comes in. There's just this supposed to be this dead guy. He's fucking got these powers, and they just go along with it because it's Undertaker.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's also maybe due to the fact that he never really broke kayfabe really until like now, basically. So that's probably why.
Yeah, like even when he went the fucking biker gimmick, there were still elements of the old Undertaker in there.
Yeah, but that was because he was planning to retire, wasn't he? That's when he was wanting to go, and he was wanting to go out as him.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, and then he ended up doing a chain match against the FBI, chain on a pole. Was it Brock Lesnar in the FBI or was it just the FBI? I can't remember.
I can't remember. I vaguely remember the match you're on about, yeah.
I love the FBI. That was a fantastic faction. I mean, I know they were ECW like originally with Tracy Smothers. That was amazing. Tracy Smothers being from, what was it, Nashville, Italy or something. It's just, have you seen Tracy Smothers when he had the match? It's quite recently, I think. It's for like WrestleCon, I think it was, and he was against the Sue Young, whatever her name was. She's like a dead woman. There was like a zombie moving or something, a gimmick.
Oh
and
yeah.
JC Smothers goes. There's Andre, so she turns around and he rolls it up.
Yeah, that rings a bell.
And then he makes like a reference to Al Qaeda in New York and stuff, and it's a bit rough. And then some woman has a go at him because he's got a Confederate flag. Tracy Smothers is just amazing. I remember watching him talk about wrestling bears and stuff, like the bear. Oh, just what a wild life that you just wouldn't get anywhere else.
Nah.
Like it just blows my mind that half of the stuff is real that he done. Like you could go to your local pub and pay £5 to try and wrestle a bear. It's like, well, I think I wouldn't. I'm not going to go into like. I'm not going to go into the Justice Mill and it's like, right, then we're going to fight a lion. £10, you'll get £50 back. Oh, that sounds like a good idea. Because he tells that he went with a group of friends. It was like his football friends.
Aye.
And one of the guys was going to do it, and he was like a 6'8", massive, like, linebacker, I want to say. I know some American football, that's about all I know. Is like, I think he was like a linebacker or something. And the guy that owned the bear had been obviously declawed and it had a muzzle on.
Aye,
the guy who owned the bear says, "Don't try any shit. Don't throw it. You don't punch him because if you punch him, I'll cattle prod him, and then he's gonna fuck you up."
Aye.
So, and they said, "Don't do any football stuff. Don't like tackle him like you would in American football." So the guy's like, yeah, it's fine. But so they get into the rope tied around the poles that was the ring, like the 4 poles that is in the fucking bar. And the guy goes into 3-point stance. So the guy obviously, but he wasn't going to do a tackle, he was just getting in the stance for whatever reason to pop the boys, I'd imagine. So the trainer guy sees him going to 3-point stance, jabs the bear with a cattle prod. The bear goes wild, leg sweeps him, and goes like that, headbutts him. Because he's trying to bite. He's trying to bite his face, so he just rams it in his nose. And the boy was like paralysed after that. The boy was just brain damaged, just ruined. And then Tracy Smothers tried to leave, but his friends were like, "No, you said you do it. You said you do it. Get back in." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I survived that one, and I wrestled 3 more bears after that." It's like, fuck that.
I just half his head. But that's just wrestling for you. Just we're at fucking daft.
Well, I mean, like I remember the Dafts, this like Lita and Edge's celebration when Edge won the title at New Year's resolution, whatever it was. And that was, I was like 10 years old when it happened. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then I can't remember, was John Cena in the bed or something, or he came out or something like that?
Can't remember, but yeah.
I despised Edge though. Edge was like, because it was that moment, I was a big John Cena fan as well as Batista, and I was just a babyface fan. Everyone who's a babyface. As soon as it turned here, I was like, yeah, press
See, I wasn't really watching it when he got his big singles push. Like, when I was watching it, he came in as fucking the Brood. He was kicking out with Gangrel and Christian with the fucking blood shots on him.
Well, I've got first I'd heard of him being the Brood. I remember Christian when he had the short hair. I don't remember when he had the long hair when he was Christian, at last you're on your own. I don't remember him as that. But I remember him when he was If You Close. It was like the If You Close Your Eyes, Captain Charisma. That was it.
Yeah.
And I remember being in the loft, and my dad was emptying the loft in the house, and he had old videotapes of WWE.
Aye.
So he had WrestleMania. What was the one that had Piper, Mr. T, and Bob Orton and Hogan? Was that one?
One. Yeah.
Yeah. He had that on video. He also had the one with Bam Bam and Lawrence Taylor.
That's 7 or 8, I want to say.
And then was it Doink versus Luna or something? Something like that.
I can't mind that. I mind Bam Bam and was it Bam Bam and Luna faced Doink and four little Doinks.
Yeah, that might have been another video I had as well. Yeah. I just remember. Doink and Luna being in the same.
Yeah, it vaguely rings a bell. Yeah.
But the one I remember is I don't remember the name of the pay-per-view, but I remember I can tell you the match. One of the matches on it. It was from the Attitude Era. It was, and like the Brood were on it, so that was the first I'd seen Edge and Christian, because I didn't realize they'd been doing it that long. But the match I remember the most is China versus Jeff Jarrett in a Good Housekeeping match for the Intercontinental title, because Jarrett was leaving and he wanted like his big pay. Was it like No Mercy or something?
He held him up for money, basically.
Yeah, I remember that. That was wild. Also, because I'm pretty sure it was the first like intergender match I'd seen. But it was China, so I was like, "Is she really class?"
Well,
she was a beast. But it was actually quite a good match. Actually, it probably isn't looking bad. But when I was younger and I watched it, it was pretty good.
There's a lot of matches like that I remember, like because you were a kid and you didn't get into it. I was like, that was fucking tremendous. And you watch it back again years later, and that was fucking horrible.
I think it's also when I noticed when I started training for wrestling and actually relatively knowing how things worked, etc. Was you watch wrestling the same, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because you're like, that didn't look good, or something went wrong here, it's kind of ruined it for me a bit, because I'm like, I can't enjoy it. And it's like, oh no, why did I do this?
You think, that's a heat starting now. Like, and you never thought about that when you were a kid. It was just, you just assumed it was 2 guys going back and forth until one of them won.
It's like, I remember, it's the same with like botches and stuff, like, you remember some botches because if they're really obvious, but now if you watch them back, you see other things and you're like, oh Jesus, they really messed up there. Like the big one was WrestleMania 21, Orton and Taker. Taker goes for the choke slam. As he lifts Randy up, Randy goes for the RKO, but ends up looking like a neck breaker. It doesn't look like an RKO. That's one that sticks out in my head a lot.
The one I always remember is the one with Big Show and Del Rio. when Del Rio tries to do the Guri up into, again, he's holding the bucket, he's looking at, I can't do the guy, Del Rio's manager.
Ricardo, whatever his name is.
Aye, Ricardo, he was outside the ring. So he did like the step up onto the fucking buckles and tried to kick the bucket. And he missed the first time, and Big Show's standing there with this fucking bucket. And he stood there and he went for it again and hunted it the second time. He was like, you fucked it.
Yeah. That's like, I think that's the worst type of botch. The worst type of botch is not, the move kind of maybe goes wrong and it just doesn't look as good. It's something glaringly obvious where you're standing there like a spare prick. It's the worst. Or where you're like, oh, that was the finish. Oh no, he just fucked it up. What we're going to do now?
And then you go for it again. It's like, just call someone else. Do something else.
It's the same as when people go for a move and maybe the guy doesn't get enough left or the guy doesn't get enough jump. So he doesn't get him up as high, so he just goes for it again, and then he goes for it again. And it's like, in my opinion, after it's fucked once, don't do it. Do something else, because then it's just going to look weird.
I had one of them with Bradley, and I'm sure we spoke about it at
the wheelbarrow.
The wheelbarrow stunner. Oh, it was fucking horrible. And I'm there, and I'm trying to fucking say to him, just let me go. And he just kept going for it. I was like, fucking just let me go.
Yeah. It's just let me go, stomp on me.
Yeah.
Work to the send again, send off, could get it then.
It's like, I kept going for that, and it was horrible.
Oh no, that's like, I've been lucky. I could try to think of watches that I've done, and the only ones that come to mind is like when I watched back a match where it was using rejected against Outfit, and Archer punches me in the back. But I don't see it or feel it, so I don't sell it. He just goes, and then I just keep walking. He never touched it. And I'm like, oh no,
yes.
Oh no.
Archer works light.
Yeah. Well, say that. Got another good one. That's a good little story. Unless depends. What's the next topic of conversation here? I don't want to segue into all these different.
Well, we can get to it later. As Scott said a couple episodes ago, this is just Nitro 97. There's no format. We're just winging it.
Well, we'll talk about galas now because this is a standing gala story and it's a good one. It was Cadona's. Remember when we got the Cadona's thing?
I never worked it, but I heard about it, yeah. That was the only one I missed.
So we're getting changed in like it was the old, like the little stalls that were beside where the haunted house / petting zoo was.
Aye, there was the hook the ducks.
Like hook the ducks and they shoot the cork and stuff like that.
Aye.
Which then got banned because I'm pretty sure everyone was just shooting people with the corks. So we're getting changed in this little hut. There's no light in the hut, and there's barely any sunlight, and it's like 40 degrees, and we're sitting in there, and I'm like, oh my god! I genuinely felt like I was in like a Texas prison. I was in the hot box in a Texas prison. It was horrible. So we'll get a card put together, and then we're going to be there for a while. I can't remember how long we ended up being there. It was a good few hours, maybe like 5 hours. I want to say 6 hours. And so we've got plenty of time for our matches. We can really go for it, have some fun. So it's me against Archer. Match starts. It's all going well. Then we do a little spot with. He's in the corner, I charge. He gets a boot up. I take a boot. He climbs up to second. He jumps over me.
Yeah.
And then we both run at each other, and I give him the D'Lo Brown thing.
Yeah, aye.
Sky High, whatever the hell it's called.
Sky High, aye, yeah.
So I knew as soon as I'd done it, I'd messed it up. I jumped as well. So like we're going. And as we're in the midair, I've tried to push him like that, but then I've also started going like that as we're in midair. So then I end up like just absolutely shattering my tailbone. Just my coccyx absolutely ruined. And then Archer's arse hits first, and then he springs down on his back. I like hard. And I'm like, I didn't look as good, but somebody said ooh, so it must have been okay.
No.
So then I go for the cover. Kicks out, and then Chessa goes to me. He's like, his back's hurt, and I'm like, oh fuck, we've now got a draws situation everywhere here. Because I was like, that's the same move I've done draws. I was like, oh fuck. But it's okay because Archer got me back later on the match because I think it was during his comeback. It was full force forearm, and then when he came off with the elbow, it was all his weight. And I was like, oh, jeez.
He was like Randy Savage. Like eventually his hip was fucked, so he was not trying to take care of it. He was just landing on boys.
Yeah.
Like Archer was exactly the same. Like his hip got so fucking bad. He's like, I can't attempt right now. I'm just gonna have to kill boys with it.
He's normally okay. He's normally been okay. I think I've wrestled him 2 other times. No,
Yeah.
I've taken the elbow 3 other times, and they've completely been fine. But that one was like, no, Newton Hill as well was a bit, not too bad. But that one in Cadona was full on. But it must have just been because he was hurting, and I totally accepted it.
Like Archer's fairly broken anyway, but like I said, that big elbow he throws, he's tempered it less and less over the years since I've been with him. It's like, nah, he's just killing guys with it.
I don't blame him, to be honest. But one day's going to come, Archer's going to come off my moonsault or an elbow, and he's just going to hit the floor and it'll turn into dust. It'll just disappear.
That's a running joke. He's got no fucking cartilage left in his knees. He just held together by tubey grips.
Tubey grips and bandanas just tied around him both again. He just gets home. He takes off the tubey grips, undoes the bandana, and his body just goes to mush. Falls in his bed.
He's literally Terry Funk. That's what he is. Yeah. He's just completely fucked. Like a
10th of Terry's age.
Aye. Like this lockdown will have done him the world of good. Just needed time off because he was one of these that he was told to take time off and he just wouldn't have.
Yeah, I remember he did take some time off.
Well, he took time off training, but he was still wrestling. He was still.
Oh yeah, so he was.
So he wasn't completely stopped. And like a lot of tag matches we have now, like I try and reel him in a bit, or like he used to
take the heat.
Aye, he was the one that used to take the heat all the time. When the laughs start, I'll take the heat. You can do the comeback thing.
But it really depends on who's giving him the heat, because like some folk, you could the entire heat and they don't bump you once, and then other people will just keep bumping you.
It's like the shit he does. Like a lot what he does, like you're saying with the moonsaults and the elbow drops, and it's sad. Stupid shit he probably could get away with needing sometimes, but because because that's what he does, he just keeps doing it. Yeah,
I remember first time I faced him was Breakin 2018. Was my 4th match, and he's like, "Oh, we'll do this, and then if you go out, I'll hit you with a dive." And I'm like, and then he froze and he went, "Oh no, that's not this match. That's another match." And I'm like, "What the? Do you know you're wrestling me, Archer?" I'm like, "It's my 4th match, and you're going to do a dive." But then we did get a dive in, but it was in Peterhead, low setting, so it was about
low set.
2 feet. He fell, came through second, I caught him. Perfect.
Dives are like, that mean catching dives.
It depends, because like, see if folk come off the top, if they don't jump up and come into you, it's horrible because they jump at you full pelt, and it's like, how you expect me to catch like a 16-stone man coming flying at me like that, rather than like them going to the peak, reach the peak, and then gently let gravity take them down.
Yeah.
Compared to a fucking torpedo coming at you. I remember doing it in training with Bradley. He ran up top rope and then dived to the outside, and it was me and Ryan. And as soon as he left the rope, I was like, "This is gonna fucking hurt." Just
I did exactly the same thing with Bradley and Ryan at Summer Hill. Like we would have this spot planned out. It's like, I got to the top and I'll just do a little crossbody. And it was until the crowd were on, I was thinking, there is very little room here. So literally, I just fucking jumped down. I think I either kicked or kneed Bradley just straight in the dick. I just come to like a fucking ton of bricks, just fucking batter.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, like speaking about like botches, like you'll hear it if you listen to the Bradley Evans episode. Like if pretty much all my botches are in matches with Bradley.
Yeah,
like you're incapable of having a match and just need fucking someone up.
I'm trying to think. Apart like the botches, like it's happened to me. Nothing's been like, oh, that really obviously didn't work. No, I tell a lie. My second ever match, It was me and Ted against me and Ted against Scotty and Thunder. And Scotty was going to do a delayed suplex. And I think it was 4 attempts until he got over because I was just whizzing it there for him, and I kept my legs compressed.
Just sandbagging.
Oh, and after that match went horrible. In all honesty, there's so much that went wrong in that match, but because it was Kieran Cry, the crowd just didn't even care. It was just little kids being like, "I'm just glad I'm at my house." Literally, so much. I watch that match back now, and I'm like, "Oh my god, how did we get away with that?" And the crowd never died once. I love Kieran Cry.
Because it's Scotty.
Yeah, well, Kieran Cry is my favourite venue, 100%. It is fantastic. I love Kieran Cry. It's not visually pleasing, but the crowd's always buying.
Yeah, aye. It's always a good crowd in there. Like that's what I had my shoot first match.
Yeah, I remember I was going through like the videos and stuff, and I'm like, Chris Archer and Mickey Vago against Caden Garrick and Sean, was it? Was it Sean?
Sean Johnson, aye.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I'll watch that. And I'm like, what year was that? 2015, 14?
15 would have been, aye. No, 14 it would have been, because 15 14. Was when Vago appeared, but yeah, 14 was the first team. Like,
2014, I watched it and I'm like, oh, here's Archer's music. Archer in his, I think he was in his yellow
and black, his leather jacket.
Yeah. And then I didn't see the face, I saw the kick pads in the singlet, and I was like, I thought it was Mickey Vago in this match, and I was like, "Oh my god, what the fuck is going on?"
Yeah, that's a look I'm never getting back to. It just didn't work.
Was it yours? Was it your kick pads and stuff?
No, it was Alan Sterling's singlet, and I want to say it was Dynamite's or it was Dave P's kick pad. It was somebody's kick pads, spare kick pads they had.
Oh yeah, I think it might have been.
But yeah, I was a fucking horrible look because like I was meant to be getting a load of boots because obviously I was fucking like I think it was 2 or 3 months training, and at this point like I'd been there, and they're like, we're doing this show, Kieran Cry, we'll put you in the Archer, but you're gonna attack team match. Oh, right, okay. And it was like in case of one of them where you can get all these boots, and the boots never turned up. So it's like I'm just gonna have to wear the fucking training boots, whatever, the kick pads, got this singlet. I was fucking
because at least kick pads over your boxing boots look better than just the boxing boots.
Yeah, aye. But aye, that's a look Vago's never going back to.
Well, if we're talking about looks that people aren't going back to, my debut was against Thunder, Regal Rumble 2018.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but we had like training before where we tried out our gear to see how it would feel.
Aye.
And I could see if it would feel okay moving around in it. So I had a white shirt, braces.
And the braces.
trousers and the boots. But one of the shirt was ripped. I ripped the arm off of my elbow arm. Yeah. Oh my god! But I wore Under Armour underneath.
Yeah.
So you could see like a little black sleeve or something underneath. I was like, oh my god.
Tremendous.
But I think it was meant to be like, I'm trying to draw attention to like, this is
the dangerous elbow.
And it's like, no. So we're doing a match. Me and Thunder are having the match. And then it was hit a leg drop. I hit a leg drop. Go for the cover, lean over him, 1, 2, kick out. He kicks out, and then the brace just goes flying off. So then I had to run. Rather than just taking the braces off, be like, right, they're obviously, I'll just quickly
they're done.
I kept them on because I was just like, focus on the match, focus on the match. And so I'm running Thunder's whole comeback, hoping that one of these braces doesn't tip me up, or I'm going to stand and it's going to ping off and smack me in the nuts or something. And I was like, oh. I don't know how it worked. I don't know how it also didn't hurt Thunder. And then afterwards, I can't remember who. I think it was Scotty, and I think it was Aspen as well. They said to me, they were like, "Yeah, don't. The ripped sleeve isn't a good thing." I'm like, oh my god! Looking back, oh my god, what the fuck was I thinking? But like obviously you had a question or questions about the gimmick.
Yeah,
Dino?
let's get into that.
Let's get into gimmicks.
Where did the gimmick come from? What was the origins of the gimmick?
Right, when I first started training, and now I never admitted this to anyone at the time because I didn't want to seem like a smart arse. I wrote down on bits of paper gimmicks. So I wrote down basically like a data sheet. So it was like your height, where you're from, where you're going to be built from, your weight, your name, your signature moves, maybe.
Yeah.
And like your finisher, just the names of them though, not like I'm going to do this move. It was just like names for the moves. So we had three. We had three. Yeah, three. First one was my nickname in school was Stug.
All right. Okay.
For my name. Stug is also the name of a German tank from World War II, or Stug. So the gimmick was Stug, and I was going to come out in German, like camouflage and stuff like that. And I was going to be billed from like Dresden or something. And then I was going to come out to like, there's a really nice song, a German song, which isn't like, it isn't anything to do with the little Austrian man that was around in the 1940s. The song was just a German song. It's called Erica. People have heard it. People might have heard it.
Yeah.
If you listen to it, you might have heard it somewhere. I was going to come out to that. So in the second one, which I actually cut a promo as in the second one, at the end of your induction period, you do like a promo night.
Yeah, aye.
Or you at least cut one promo, and it was the Reaper. The promo was quite good. But Scotty was like, you can't talk about killing people at a family friendly show. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a good point. And I was going to be billed from the River Styx, which I thought was quite cool.
It's clever, but yeah, it's got to go over a lot of people's heads.
Yeah, it's like it's too heavy metal. And I'm not a heavy metal guy, but like it's too heavy metal. And what was it? The finisher was going to be called. And it was, if you say it though, it doesn't sound as good. It was called Karen. No, they were going the riverboat that ferries the dead.
Yeah.
But it sounds like the name Karen. And it was going to be called Karen's Curse. Because I was like, oh, the Underworld. Blah. Yeah, so that never came in. And then the final one that I wrote, and I pinned these on my wall. All three of these were pinned on my wall above my bed to remind me who I was and where I came from. The third one was Dino Sands.
That was the one I remember, was Dino Sands. Like, I never heard of the other two, but Dino Sands is the one I remember hearing about.
Dino Sands. Okay, well, for the reason you didn't hear about the other two is I cut that one promo as a Reaper, and I never done that again. And Stug was a personal one with Martin when he trained.
Right, okay.
Because he was going to do somebody Lancaster, and he was going to look like a British air pilot.
All right, okay. Yeah.
And we were going to do like the Battle of Britain match, and I was like, oh my god, looking back now, it sounds so horrible. But he was going to have like the white scarf, and he was going to get like a metal wire to stick it out so it looks like it's blowing in the wind. And I'm like, that's class, that's amazing. That is a great gimmick. And he was going to have a battle with me. Because the only time we really worked in the ring together would have been the Bull James seminar, where I just stiffed him for like a solid 6 minutes, just beating the shit out of him. Anyway, so the Dino Sands gimmick comes from my favourite singer of all time is Dean Martin.
Yeah.
Dean Martin's real name is Dino Crochet.
Right.
So I took Dino from that, and the Sands is the famous casino in Vegas where he used to always play.
Right, okay.
The Sands, it was called.
Yeah, that makes
sense. I became Dino Sands from Las Vegas in Verudi, I was going to write. So I'd done the Dino Sands gimmick. I had that in my head. I never mentioned a gimmick to anyone. Only to like the people that I was mates with.
Yeah.
I never mentioned it to like Scotty or Thunder or anything, because I was like, I don't want to seem like I'm getting ahead of myself. Because even I don't know what I will be. So I remember it came to the time of like sitting us down, and they were like, right, you've been doing like heat, your shines, let's put it all together, have some training matches. So I was Big Bad, my real name, I'm just just going to say. And that was basically my gimmick for a bit, in training, of course. And I remember the first time I ever done matches, I had one against Scotty, and I had one against Thunder. One with Scotty, I've still got it on video. I could still find it. It's actually okay for what it was.
Yeah.
You know, for some reason, I was able to, like, I had Scotty up for the sidewalk slam.
Uh-huh.
And then I tried to say it's too easy because, like, I was lifting someone. I was like, it's too easy. And then, like, I squatted and went like that. And I don't know how I done that, how I got the squat and went like that, because I've never done that again. And then, so we had first match with Scotty, went okay. And then somebody else went, I think it was Ryan Riley went. And then it was me again against Thunder. And about a minute into this match, I was gone. I had, because like at one point Thunder gave me a punch and I just like crumbled. Not like a cell. I was so fucked. I was like, oh. And I've still got that as well. And I watch it back sometimes, and then I think I stiffed Thunder maybe a couple of times, but obviously he was being very nice about it.
Yeah.
So he sent me off. I reversed it, and it was duck one, and he was. And I was to run, and he would hit me with a drop kick. I forgot the drop kick was coming, so I hit the rope, came back, and I see Thunder in the air, and his feet like that, and I got it right on the jaw, and I just went down like that. So the gimmick never really came until they sat us down. They were like, "We're gonna have like, I don't know if you were there actually. Were you there when we done like the training show in the academy?"
No, I remember seeing the written out card for it, but yeah, I wasn't there.
So that was
maybe
like,
was it? Maybe I was. Can't mind.
I can't think. But then they're like, "Oh, we're going to do the show in front of just the guys, you know,
Yeah.
so it's not as much pressure.
Aye.
We need just to have gimmicks though, some form of gimmick, even just a base. It might not be what you're going to have." And I was like, "I'm ready. I've got three, got three on my wall." So I chose a Dino. I got a really bad fitting fedora that my dad had bought me. I had a navy mark that I'd got from a vintage shop in Edinburgh for £10.
I remember that one, yeah.
And I had a dress shirt, shorts, because I didn't have trousers, and I was like, I'm not going to buy trousers for this little show, so I just put a dress shirt and shorts. And I was against Ryan Riley, who at the time was called Ryan Strife.
Yes, he was.
Yes. And he came, so I came out to Beyond the Sea by Bobby Darin, which everyone was very happy to hear. And I came swagging out, sunglasses on, hat tilted. I looked like I was pissed. That's what it was. It was like, you're pissed uncle at a wedding. It's like, oh, the tunes are on, boys.
Right.
And I like raise Scott Hall to the fucking ring.
All you need is one half of the shirt untucked, just.
Well, the shirt was completely untucked. So I get in the ring. I've done the John Cena. You know where John Cena used to hit the rope and then he'd throw his hat?
Yeah, aye.
I'd done it with the fedora. But as I started to run, the fedora started to come off because it didn't fit me properly. So I just had to run like that. I didn't throw it though. I just like, oh no, you're not getting it. And then Ryan came out to, I want to say it was 5-finger death punch or something.
Aye.
Five fingers in a fist or something like that. The song was called something like that, and it was like really intense, heavy metal, like screaming, and like everyone in the crowd was like, "Oh fucking Jesus, what the fuck? Who the fuck's coming out?" Like, it's like, "I want to punch," and then you're like, "Yeah." So we done the match, and it was going really well for what it was. Looking back now, obviously it's fucking atrocious. Until the spot was, I go for a slam.
Yeah.
Ryan slips down the back, pushes him off, hits a drop kick, which he could hit 1 in 7 of his drop kicks. He's probably a lot better now, but at the time he was 1 in 7.
Yeah.
So, but he forgot to hit it, so we ended up running at each other, and then something else happened, and we both tackled it. No, oh no, what happened again? It was like we both ended up down. I think we just bumped off of nothing for no reason. And then I crawled round, and Thunder was in the corner outside the ring, and he was like, "Take his head off, just clothesline him, take his head off." And I don't know why, but I didn't register it. I just turned around and ran at Ryan, expecting Ryan to do it to me, and we both just ran at each other and bumped for nothing. And so like went into major panic mode there, and I just slapped a headlock in at the start of Ryan's comeback. I just slapped on a headlock, send off, and his finish at the time was push up, catch with the knees, you come down.
Yeah.
But he caught me square in the nuts as I came down, like full pelt in the nuts.
To finish.
Yeah, well, and then the match ended there, so we were very fucking upset about that. No, we weren't angry, we're like just disappointed.
Yeah.
It was going so well. And that's one of the botches you don't want to happen. Like that's like the match is done. Finish it now. Somebody go do it, please.
Just roll me up.
Yeah, someone just end it now. Don't try and do anything else. Especially the double bump. Oh my god. Because as soon as we'd done it, I just heard Ryan go, "Oh no," and I just went, "Fuck!"
But then that's part of the danger. Like the danger. Like it was a academy show. Like there was only the guys there, but
I think that's what made it worse. I mentioned
the Bradley. It's saying two essentially trainees and against each other. So you've not got an experienced guy to lead it if someone doesn't go quite right or to get things back on track.
Well, that was the thing because we were against each other. We were both trainees.
Yeah.
And then Mauler was against Kev, Big Kev. Remember Kev?
Aye, he worked security for a while, yeah.
Yeah, and then he had a match with Michael Graham after. It was like a quick squash.
Yes.
And then Michael Graham came in for the big save. And then the next match was Anastasia versus Sammy. Yeah. And then the main event was Nova. Do you know who I'm on about?
Yeah,
yeah. Against Brian Tucker in the main event. So like we were kind of the only match where there wasn't really because like there was a squash match, but that was just a squash match.
Yeah.
Like, our match was like there's no one to lead this.
Yeah. It's
like if someone goes tits up, we don't know what we're gonna do.
Aye.
I still have on my phone because me and Ryan. Well, what I'll do first is I'll start a story of how I started training and what it was like for me.
But like you came through, like you were one of the first like proper training academy groups that came through, and it was a solid group that you boys came through with what I remember.
I remember I decided I wanted to try wrestling. It was when would it have been? September 2016. I decided I was going to do it, but I was like, I need to get in some shape. So this is generally what I'd done to get in shape. I used to go to the gym and I would do the weights in the gym and maybe a little bit of the rowing machine or the bike or whatever.
Aye.
And I didn't know what I was doing though. I was just going that machine. How do you use it? I'll watch somebody else use it. Okay, that doesn't seem that hard. Oh, here we go. Yeah. How many will I do? Let's keep it intense. How much I'll go for 50. Why not? And then for cardio, I used to go down beside where I stay, down at the shore. There's a massive hill.
Yeah.
Like a massive hill that you drive down to get to the shore and come back. So I would run up the hill and walk down like 5 times.
Yeah.
And then when it became like really cold, like winter time, I used to stay in the stairs in the house now because I used to walk up and down the stairs like 100 times, just walk up and down it, and that was it. That was all I done, and I lost 2 stone in 2 months because of it. So I was like, don't beat the method. So and then I decided I was going to do it in the new year, so 2017. I think it was start of February, end of January. Went in for my induction. There was four people in my induction group. There was this little boy who looked like he was about 12, but he was actually like 26. He was tiny. I mean, he was tiny. Not like he was a like midget or anything. He was just really small, like small. But he was built like no little Evan, the 16-year-old at training. He was meant to debut at the Rumble.
Yeah, Connor,
yeah. He was like him, but this boy was like apparently older than me. It was weird. And then the other boy was a boy called, I want to say his name was Larry. Larry sticks out, or Zuck. It's Larry or Zuck, I can't remember. There's just so much people. And then the other one was a woman who, Brogan, you remember Brogan?
Yeah, I heard the name, yeah. I don't think I ever met her, but yeah, I remember.
That was my group for induction. So I stayed after, because they were like, you could stay after induction. It was watch your time. So I was in the mat room, and in the mat room was his name was Michael. Oh my god, it's gonna annoy me. This boy's name wasn't Michael Graham. It was Michael. Oh my god, Michael. Well, it was Michael Watson, who was somebody else, and there was another Michael who was actually quite fit. He was like, obviously went to the gym a bit. He was quite muscly, quite in shape.
Is that the rugby guy?
I don't know. He had a black beard, black little spike.
Possibly.
No,
I know exactly what you mean now. Yeah, aye.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but yeah, I know exactly.
I know his first name was Michael. That's all I remember.
Yeah, I know.
Then there was a boy called Scott who was called Jojo, big guy with a shaved head. Quite big.
Yeah. A lot of trainees, like until they make like working like security or merch at shows.
Yeah.
I was never in the same ranks as the newer guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that you were playing the veteran card, just coming in on Wednesdays or whatever it was.
Big league in it.
Yeah. So then there was them, and there was Big Kev we spoke about earlier.
Yeah.
And there was Martin. And I remember this very well because where they were doing oh my god, what's it called? No, when the guy stands on your behind your shoulders and you bring your feet up and put them through the hole.
Yeah.
Doing that, and like Martin got hurt. He was really hurting in like his chest. And I was like, oh Jesus, what a fucking pussy is he? And then only later did I come to find out how old he actually is. And I was like, holy shit! No wonder you're bloody hurt. I thought he was the same age as me. Anyway, so came back. So I came in the door. I was meant to do it with my friend, but my friend had been pussied out. So I went in myself, opened the door. Kev's there. Ryan was there. Anastasia was there. Big Alex, shaved head, tattoos all over his arm. He was huge. Do you remember him?
Yeah, I think so.
I would still wish he was still wrestling because he was amazing. He's a great guy as well. And I still speak to him actually. And then there was Martin. And then I think Brogan came like a month later. So we were in that group. So Ryan and Anastasia had started November or December 2016. So a couple of months ahead of me.
Yeah.
And Kev and the rest of them, they'd started like 3 weeks before me.
Yeah.
And so I had no expectations. I was like, I'm going to give it a go. I'm probably not going to be able to do it because it's going to be fucking hard. And I knew it was going to be hard. And I know my fitness level was horrible at the time. It still is, let's be honest. So you did do all the things. And I remember just being like, I didn't want to say anything to anyone because I was like, you watch like the New Japan Dojo, you watch like the Performance Center, and they're like shouting at folk for like talking and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm just gonna stand here and not talk. And because I didn't know anyone as well, but it's amazing like the bonds you create with people that you can train with. Because that group of people stayed for a long time. Like nobody left for ages.
Like wrestlers have got a track record of, and it's not wrestlers' fault. It's just like when I came through, like we didn't have the actual academy yet.
Mm-hmm.
But like there's only like if you started maybe 5 or 6 guys at the same time, you'd only have one left at the end. Actually, I think Garrick was before me, and he was the only one left in his group, and I was a group after him, and I was the only one left in my group. And it wasn't until the academy started that they started getting like groups of guys through at the same time.
Well, like for a good while, it was me, Ryan, Anastasia, the Dame Brogan, Nova, Big Kev, Mauler, Manton, and this boy Jojo. Scott, we call him Jojo. I don't know, I can't remember, but he said his nickname was Jojo, so we call him Jojo. And it was us for like a year straight. Not all of us were still there.
Yeah.
So for 8 months, was it 8 months, 9 months? We never got in the ring. And that puts a lot of people off, I think, not getting in the ring. And I'm like, you've got to fucking earn the right to get in the ring.
That's the way it should be, yeah.
Yeah. Because you're not going to turn up, and they also need to make sure you're safe to do it.
Aye.
So, remember you were talking in the one with Bradley, I think it was Bradley, with the mats.
Yeah.
How horrible the mats are.
Uh-huh.
We were doing bumps. So, normal bumps, fishtails. And we're coming to like different kind of bumps. So this was the waist lock takedown, where you pick a guy up from the back, spin him on his side and throw him down.
Yeah.
We're doing them, and everyone's giving them to each other, kind of. And it's my turn. I can't remember who gave me it. I think it might have been Kev or Jojo. They picked me up, and as they picked me up, they lost their footing and kicked, and they kicked the cross mat away. But they still threw me down, chest first onto the thing. And I remember standing in the queue, and like Thunder's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then it was at that moment I was like, "I think I've made a mistake, so I do this wrestling." But that happens. Like people can take like a bad bump, or they get hurt a little bit, and like it scares them, it worries them a lot.
It doesn't take like I had the same. I'd crack ribs just in a headlock table. The guy the guy fucking just landed on me funny. I just thought it was me.
I remember there was somebody in the group who wasn't a very good listener. I'm not going to name names, but somebody in the group. They're not here anymore, and they never actually made it to shows. So
yeah.
Len Ironside was in giving us like a guest training thing, but holds.
Yeah.
It was snapmare, and then the deal where you grab a boy's wrist and you put your foot on his shoulders and pull him.
Yeah, aye.
So the person gets up to give Mountain a snapmare, but they go with him. They roll as well. So they basically just spike Mountain on his head. And I'm like, oh my god, oh god. But it was a good group of people. Everyone got on. Everyone was progressing at the same rate.
Aye.
There was a couple of people who maybe fell behind a bit, because they had issues, family stuff came up. They take time off, come back, stuff happens. Life stuff. It's completely understandable. Then people started to drop. And we were left with still a solid group, maybe 5 folk. I think Maul had actually moved at this point. Could be wrong. Maybe if it was later. And so we get told, right, you're going to start doing shine heats from mats and stuff. And I was always paired with Ryan. Now you talked about how you and Garrick had a thing where you were trying to outdo each other.
Yeah.
And Broadway and Nathan had one of the trying to outdo each other. Me and Ryan were like that, but we never acknowledged it to each other. It was like a subconscious of oh, Ryan can do that, well I need to kind of be able to do it. Or if I can Ryan do that, but I can't. It's just the way it was. And there was nothing malicious about it. There was nothing fuck him, he can do this and I can't, or I can do that and you can't. It was just we felt like we had to.
Aye. So
we always get paired up a lot of the time because we got on really well and we worked really well together. And I'm not going to play a video or anything, but I'm just going to show it. Jesus, I need to go back a while.
This is tremendous for the audio version.
Well, yeah. So I have a video there of one of the first ever heats.
Right, okay.
Ryan ever gave to me, and it's horrible to watch back. It's absolutely disgusting to watch back. And yet, even though me and Ryan got on and was like I said, we got booked in that training thing, we've only ever faced each other once, well twice, and if you include a tag thing.
Yeah.
We've only ever faced each other once, and that was the charity show in Count Cry, because it was meant to be Sterling versus Lionheart, but it was
the Dynamite.
It ended up being Dynamite, yes. So I got taken out of the triple threat. It was meant to be a triple threat, me, Bradley, and Sisto.
Yeah.
Against, and then they were like, "Oh, you and Riley can be first." and the footage got lost, which I'm very upset about.
Yeah.
But a staff member did record it, and I'm really glad because like so much stuff did go well. But it's just the crowd is just amazing. Ryan says to this day that the pop he got when he covered me and pinned me, it's the best pop he's ever had. And I'm like, that's not saying a lot for your career, Ryan. But yeah, so training was really hard. I mean, like the workout stuff is obviously the hardest bit, but it was you want to leave feeling like you've accomplished something. You know?
Yeah, aye.
You want that? Yeah, it's like, oh fuck, I can't feel my arms, I can't feel my legs, but you know there's a reason you can't because you really put the work in, and done it. Because I remember we done a little stretching maneuver. Where you put your feet together, clamp your hands, and you push down on your knees.
Yeah.
Like your groin.
Yeah.
But then you get someone else to stand on your knees, to stretch your back, lean against your back. Stretch your back. And I got Mauler. And I was like, I did cry. I'm not saying anything bad about Mauler but like neither of us are big guys, are not big guys. We're not small guys.
Yeah.
So we've just like stuff like that where it brings you immense amount of pain and you still go through it. It makes you think you can do it. And I never really believed I would ever get on shows. I especially didn't believe I'd get on a show not as quickly as them because it wasn't that quick. It wasn't like 3 months like you. It was like a year and a month I was on.
Yeah.
And I remember getting told it was like, oh yeah, you're facing Thunder in the Rumble and you're going to be in the Rumble. And I was like, it's like when they told Michael Graham that he was going to be in the Rumble, I think it was, he like cried. Pretty sure Michael cried, or he was close to crying. And I remember being backstage for the first match, and Martin's music played. He got in the ring, and see when he said our newest prospects from the training academy, and then my music played. I nearly passed out. I was literally going to pass out. I was like, that's why if you watch it back, I come out and I go like that, and my face is just rock solid because I'm like, focus, don't pass out.
So were you thrown together with Ted at that point?
Yeah, Ted came out. He just accompanied me to the ring at that point. And it went down really well. I think people hated us, and that's all that matters. It was different. It was different as well.
If you're a heel, that's what you want. Like, there's too many guys that are heels are afraid to work as heels. I think, like me and Archer, we worked heels when I first came in, and like we worked. I think we worked as heels at the time. Like we weren't trying to be cool or fucking like Archer's got some cool fucking moves, but it's just because he's Archer and that's just what he does.
Well, it's like there's a lot of things I like to do, but I don't.
Yeah,
if you know what I mean.
That's what I was told when I was coming through. It was like, why you might be able to do these things, but it might not fit your character or what you're trying to do at the time, so don't do them.
Yeah,
that's why like the big shows, I'll maybe throw in a dive or like Anarchy. We worked the moonsault. Like I made doing it every fucking show because it didn't make sense.
And also your poor knees.
Yes. And it's like, you don't want to throw that kind of shit away just on every fucking show. Like save it for big ones.
That's the thing, in my opinion, right? When like this is me personally, when I like watching wrestling, I like most kinds of wrestling.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy when there's a heel, like a Finlay or a Hansen or Brody, where there's nothing finesse about what they're doing.
Nah.
Like Finlay like hooks the mouth or he gouges the eye. Like little stuff like that is better because that's like you're just a fucking dick.
Just being dirty as fuck and just getting in about it and aye.
Like when Finlay like has a guy in a headlock, he's hooked his mouth, but the ref's like here, so the ref can't see it. But the crowd can all see him like getting his mouth ripped open.
He's getting a fucking sly fucking dig and aye.
I remember talking about Finlay. Remember there was a match I watched. I can't remember. This is when he was a scout for NXT, so he was going around like looking for all these talents you could bring up, and I think it was Sami Callihan was wrestling him for Evolve, I want to say it was.
Yeah.
And Sami's like punching Finlay, and he's like stiffening because like it's Finlay. So he's like stiffening, and Finlay's like barely selling it, and then Sami squares up to him, and Finlay just like shoot headbutts him. Like, oh, fucking bastard! And I'm like, that's just amazing. But it's like you hear like so much folk now don't want to do it, and I think that's like something that's missing. Like, what's wrong with being like the dirty, vicious guy? Because for me, like, this is why I like guys like Hero and stuff. It's like a solid strike looks better than a moonsault, to my opinion.
Yeah.
A strike that looks like it's like should have knocked someone out looks better than a moonsault. You have to see a moonsault once, you're like, okay.
Yeah.
But every time you hear like a massive chop or a big strike,
Aye.
it's like, oh, everyone goes, ooh.
It's just something like the crowd just got fucking kidding. They felt that, like, because they've no idea what a moonsault feels like. But Abdel Ken got a slap in the fucking chest or
a knock across the face. It's like I remember it was Battle of the Nations. It was Andy versus Dave. Big Andy versus Dave.
Oh, I think I know where you're going with this, yeah.
And they went out to the crowd, and Andy gave a big chop in the middle of the crowd.
And you could hear it.
Yeah, there was a group of guys beside us who were like smart arses, and like even they were a bit like you could hear them like talking about it. And I'm like, yeah, because there's nothing thingied about that. You know what I mean? That's why like I done it to Connor, and I still feel bad about it to this day. I don't really, but I do.
See, I just watched that just today. I was watching it back.
Is that the turf one?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. He would have been. The one where it just sounds like it's a gun going off.
Well, this is the thing. The one in Turf is nothing compared to what I've done in Proving Grounds. Remember I had a tag match. It was me and Ted against Scotty and Connor.
Yeah.
So we're brawling at the start. I'm with Connor. And I said to Connor before, I was like, I'm going to probably hurt you a lot. And I'm expecting it back. So please do it. Because we're in the crowd. We can't afford to be.
You can't.
So I'm like, Adam Morrison mentioned it in his review of the show.
Yeah.
It was like a gun going off the side end because like you can just on the camera you can just see the start of it. You can just see me pick up Connor's head and go like that, and then you just hear a massive wham, and then a wham again. And I feel bad about it, but also like if I do it to anyone, I'm expecting it back.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me. It's like, yes, like this is like Garlic. Garlic likes the thought of feeling like he's had the shit beat out of him. Garlic likes the feeling.
I've had a few with Garlic, and like there was one at Blackburn we had, and we just knocked the fuck at each other. Like we said beforehand, look, we'll just go out there and just fucking rip each other to fucking shreds. Like there's no apology needed. We'll just go out there and we just not fuck each other for 10 minutes.
Well, there's a few guys in wrestlers on that like I want to face more so that I can do that kind of stuff. I think you would fall into the category, Big Caleb would, Bradley definitely.
Yeah.
Which brings me to our triple threat in Peterhead before the lockdown. Do you remember?
Which one was that? Peterhead.
That was the one where in the little centre. Whatever the fuck it's called.
Oh yeah, that's because they weren't working in the usual place. They changed it to wherever it was they were doing it. Yeah. Aye.
Yeah.
You guys start brawling, and I came out and.
Yeah. So I said to Bradley, I was like, so come out, we'll square up and then give him a shot, Okay, so he comes out, he hasn't taken his eye off me, he's walking around the ring, he slides in the ring, staring at me, and I'm waiting for the square off, so I go like that, and he doesn't even square up, he just goes across the nose, it just catches me right on the nose, and I'm like, oh, so I'm like, bam, bam, I'm on the floor, and I'm like smacking him in the back of the neck with a forearm. And then you came out. I think you doored me then as well.
I don't know. I remember I came out and I knocked Ted in his arse.
Yeah.
On the way past, and then I started knocking fuck at you two, and then Bradley chucked me in, or I chucked Bradley in whatever, and we were working this thing, and I was.
Then your whole shine with your jacket still on.
I said to Bradley, like, tear the jacket off me, and he didn't hear me, and he just kept beating fuck out me.
Remember, you done Summer Hill, and the whole match you never got your jacket off.
Yes.
Yeah, when we worked the light, it was amazing. That should be on the record.
Just sweating like fuck.
It just, but I think it looks better because people are like, "Wait, Jesus, he didn't even have time to get his jacket off, Jesus." But that match was quite fun, and then me and Brad had the chop off, and then he thumbed me in the eye, legitimately. He thumbed me in the eye. He just went wallet on your birthday, just like right in the corner. That was a fun match. See, that was a match where it's like, you know what you're three of us were brawlers.
Yeah.
There's not much, but we can't go out there and have a technical masterclass. We're just gonna have to go there and not fuck it with each other. But like, I stayed on the floor for most of it. I had the easy job.
But aye, it's like most of the a lot of the guys in this one are like that though. It's like you can maybe hit them with a couple just of fucking bombs, and again they're not wanting to get angry with it, or unless you're, because there's no malice behind it.
Yeah, but I think like a massive thing about it, the reason I like it as well is like when you get like, not like I'm nearly knocked out, but you get like that was like, it keeps you in the zone, keeps you focused, in my opinion, because you really start thinking. So that's the good thing about it. But like, you don't want like a low key fucking kick across the face as you're trying to get up. Like, oh Jesus, fuck, what the fuck was that? That is hot. I remember seeing that, and it was Low Key versus Chris Hero in a PWG show. Chris Hero's down, and Low Key just goes wallet right in the bridge, and it's like, oh Jesus. You can't even think after that.
I've no time for any of that fucking cable. And looking off, I've not been involved in any of it, but yeah, just taking cheap shots with boys. It's not on.
I think there's one of the stiffest shots I've ever had was a Dory from you at Summerhill. You're in the corner, you started fighting me, and you looked at Archer and you looked back at me, and you just went, Dory, and just went off. Because I think I said back, I was like, fucking potatoes.
Yeah.
But then like, say it was on like galas and stuff, like that's when you do stuff like that as well, because you just want to make each other laugh. So you want to just like just a quick reminder.
A lot of the galas, it's not necessarily that wrestling crowd it's here.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get away with a lot more and just I don't want to say dicking about, but you're still working, but you can have a bit more fun with it.
You don't want to dick about because you still want to try and attract these people to maybe each other.
Aye.
Whereas if you're in there doing like twisting each other's nipples and shit like that, then like, I was gonna come see that. Because I base a lot of the stuff I do on what my dad sees of it.
Aye.
Because my dad's not a wrestling fan, so if he says that looks shit, I wouldn't come to see that. I'm like, well, I can take that on board. Because if a wrestling fan looks at it, they'll just be like, it's okay because it's wrestling. If that makes sense. Yeah. But it's somebody who's not a wrestling fan who looks at it, like, why is that happening? Why are you doing that?
That's the one you're trying to hook. If you can, like, the mums and dads that are taking their kids and they're like, okay, that's a fake. It's a fake. If you can get them just for someone to say, that wasn't a fake. Like, that's when you've hooked them.
There's one that happened, and it was in Newton Hill against Archer, and he was up on the top rope, and I've climbed up to suplex him off, but he knocked him off. If you watch a video, like over the back of me, there's like a bunch of mums, a couple of mums with their kids, obviously. And as soon as I come off that second rope and slam onto that floor and bounce to my forward, they're like, oh. And then like they're talking to each other. You can see they're trying to justify it, going like, "It's bounce, isn't it?" It's like, no, it's fucking arguing here, sweetheart. But like, that you want the people to think, like as you say, in their heads, they're coming and thinking it's shite, it's fake, it's hopeless. But then you want them to just go, oh, do they actually hate each other? Or well, that didn't look very fake. Oh, that's what you want. That's why, like, when guys go to brawl in the crowd, they should just be leather and fucking each other. Just in general, folks should be leathering fucking with each other in a nice way. In a nice way, though. Like, not to the point where you're breaking fucking cheekbones and sharpening skulls and stuff.
There's a line, but yeah.
But
leave your shit in and make it look real, at least.
Yeah, look good. Like, because that'll make them come back. Because in every wrestling crowd, there's a difference of people that want matches. So you've got like the folk who want to see funny stuff.
Yeah.
Kids will mainly want to see funny stuff. But you've got kids that want to see moves. They want to see moonsaults. They want to see springboards and all that stuff. But then you've got like the guys, maybe the older generation who grew up on World of Sport. Maybe they want a bit of the technical stuff.
Yeah.
Or they want like the really rough strikes, like the forearm smash, as everyone calls it. For if you're from the World of Sport days, the forearm smash. Because every time somebody's talked about World of Sport, they're like, "Oh yeah," because he used to do the forearm smash, and I'm like, everyone done the forearm smash. It wasn't his move.
That's the one you get when you're doing postering, like you're in a pub putting a poster up, and the guy's like, "I mind World of Sport with Kendo Nagasaki," and it's like every pub you go into, you get them.
My great granddad, my grandma's dad, he was a massive wrestling fan. He was a huge wrestling fan, and so my grandma, like, she thinks like I get it from him, and I'm like, I don't know if that's how it works, but okay, yes, I get it from him. But he would have been watching it when it was, Jackie Polo, Mick McManus, so it's like a few years before.
That's the two little. Apart from Kendo, that's the other two names you always get when you put the poster up.
You get McManus, Big Daddy, Giant Haystacks, and Kendo Nagasaki.
Aye.
Because they've done the gimmicks where everyone remembers them.
Yeah.
But then, like, I remember my dad's told me stories. I don't know how true they are, but I'm just going to say them anyway. He was on holiday, he was on a lad's holiday. They were going down to England. And they were in, I want to say, like, Blackpool or something like that. And they were in a pub. And some guys, they were sitting at a table, there's a table next to them, and the guys at the table got in a fight, and they were having a fight. So everyone like backed away, giving their space. So he backs up to the bar, and he looks to his right, and Johnny Saint's standing next to him. And then like he says that what's his name? What's his name again? Kung Fu. Do you know Kung Fu? That was the boy where the karate gear.
Yeah.
He was apparently there as well. Well, that's who my dad claims it was. It probably wasn't. But I'm like, oh, okay, Dad, okay. You're one of those, are you? Oh, my dad used to drive Big Daddy. But so people always try to relate to that. That's what the older generation, but the generation probably after you. Oh, my dad. How was my dad? How old are you again?
I'm 37 this year.
37-ish, yeah. So you're 36 and a half or whatever.
That'll be by the time this goes out, I'll be 37.
Okay. So maybe a generation or two after you is the people who grew up with wrestling was on every Saturday.
Aye.
It was on like about 3 o'clock, whatever it was, after the football results or whatever it was. And so they remember the wrestling, but they remember the characters.
Yeah.
So that's why I think you get a bit more leniency with characters in British wrestling, because we did grow up with characters. It's only the really old guys, when it was kind of like Mick McManus and Jackie Polo, where it was like, yeah, I'm a bit of a dick and I'm a bit hard, but I am still a wrestler. Whereas like a couple of years later, you have like Adrian Street doing the full-on out of the world gimmick and stuff like that. But then you look at Adrian Street, you look at Rollerball Rocco. Adrian Street went to, was it Memphis? I think he wrestled in Memphis or something.
Yeah.
And Rocco went to Japan and America.
Yeah, aye.
And then I watched a match not that long ago, and it was Rocco against Jushin Thunder Liger, but when he wasn't Jushin Thunder Liger, he was called Fuji Yamada or something like that. And Rocco is just ahead of his time. It's unreal how ahead he was as a wrestler. But I think that's missing from wrestling now. The British style is missing a bit. It's trying to come back.
I think a lot of it is because there's obviously there's not been British wrestling on TV for fucking years. Yeah. It's always been like WWE or WF at the time, and it was WCW, and That was all it was on. So it's this American. So that's what everyone's acclimatized themselves to.
Mhm.
So that's part of it.
I also think it might have something to do with like, well, it's different now NXT UK because you've got a actual training centre, but before all the British guys that taught the old way all had jobs in America, so they weren't here. Which I've heard of a lot of people mention stuff like that, like, well, what do you expect us to do? There's no one here, or there's no one here who has an academy.
Yeah.
I can't think of any in Scotland, to be honest.
No, but like the thing with NXT UK, essentially it's still WWE. They're still teaching the American style because it'll still be coming for those kind of guys.
Yeah,
like
but they're getting the British footwork done. Basically.
Although I reckon is Saint still involved with that? I don't know if he's still a trainer there or.
No, I think he is.
Like although he's there, like it's a lot of the American, like because these guys all come from the Indies, and a lot of none of them have worked like a lot of the British style. It'll all be this kind of American style wrestling they're working at. And I think it's just a lot has been lost. I think.
Yeah, it's a massive shame because it is entertaining, especially like people think about British style when they just think, oh, it's just holds. It's like if you watch not necessarily like I'm trying to think of like if you watch Marty Jones versus Rollerball Rocco, which although whatever your opinions are on Marty Jones, that's different.
I was gonna say, but yeah, well, keep going with that.
Yeah, but if you watch their matches are really really good, especially. Their matches seemed like really real, like hatred wise.
Yeah.
They were vicious to each other. And if you go back and watch Finlay versus Johnny Saint, that's like, yeah, they're doing holds and stuff, but they're incorporating so much movement and so much other aspects, which is keeping it exciting. It's not just two guys sitting on the floor like that.
Aye.
Which there is people doing that. There is people that done that. But then the main event guys were always like Rocco, who was exciting and different. He was brawling in the crowd. He's brawling in the ring. He's punching the guy in front of the ref's face to get his public warning because he knows he's only got a couple. He's got more than one, sorry. So I think you can't. It is possible to do the British style, but in a way where it's entertaining. It is hard. Like I'm not saying I could do. Absolutely no way could I do it. I mean, I've seen stuff, but that's about it.
I mind one night at the academy we did like a training match. It was a British style match.
Oh yeah,
and I was your corner guy with the bucket, and
you were a corner line with, and the Marlon Brando T-shirt was the sponsor.
Oh, in fact, that was against Ryan, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was against Ryan. That wasn't a good. That was like the undercard World of Sport match. But it was someone wanted to try different because you want to spice things up because you're now very rarely you're going to get a World of Sport rules.
No, like I think the wrestlers would have done it like once. I think
twice. They've done it with Len and then with Jimbo and Osman.
Jimbo, of course, I forgot about that one. Bye. Yeah, so that's twice they've done it. It wrestles one, and
it's different. It's different. That's why
it mixes things up because you don't want the same match in every fucking card. Like you've got 6-7 matches on a card. You don't want them all being exactly the fucking same.
And it's also like if you're on a card, say you're third, and the two guys before you, the two matches before you, they've went out and they've done all the flips and all the arm drags and the blah blah blah, and it's like bitches are the same. So why not go out and just beat the fuck out of someone? Because they've seen the flips. I can't do the flips.
Yeah,
but I might be able to do something else.
But I think that's. WrestleZone are fairly good with that. It's like they're like guys will watch each other's matches and see what they're doing. They've got a good idea of match structure and match placement, and
I think it's also to do with a lot of people know in WrestleZone what they are, what they should be doing. Like there's so many people who in WrestleZone can do so much different things, but they know it's not the gimmick. I'm not going to do it.
Doesn't fit the character. It doesn't fit
the character.
What we're doing. Yeah.
Like I like doing, chain, we'll just call it chain, even though you shouldn't call it chain, whatever. But I don't do it because why would I do it? And also, every match I've basically had has been with someone I'm in a feud with. It doesn't make sense to be like, yeah, this is our big blow-off match. Lock up, take the head. It just doesn't make sense. So it's annoying at times because you want to be able to do it because I enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
I think it's good. It's also a really good exercise. See, if you just get in the ring in training, I've done that a couple of times with Bradley and Ryan. Just get in and just swap holds and run the rope.
Yeah, aye.
It's amazing how much it blows you up.
We do that on Wednesday, so like before lockdown, we used to do that on Wednesday. Sometimes you'd hear if we had 6 guys in, you'd have a guy in each corner, and you had 2 guys in, and they would be holds out or tag the next guy in, and he would do the same. And you would just keep going until everybody was fucked.
Oh, that just reminded me. We done it once. I think it was like 8 guys in, quite some new guys as well. And Bradley got his nose broken because something's popped up.
Oh.
Something about malware. So Bradley got snap-mared, and the guy went to cover him and went to push his face to the side. And he went like that on Bradley's nose, and you just heard that. Bradley, fuck's sake. It happens all the time, Bradley. Bradley's had Cove Gala, he got the rope pinned onto his nose. So he eliminated someone in the Battle Royal, and the rope got whammed.
I did it too at training. I didn't break it. I made it bleed in training once. I can't remember what we were doing. I think we were just taking like front bumps. But I threw my arm up as I was going down and just caught him straight bang fucking bridge of the nose.
Oh, jeez. But eventually it'll just fall to mush. It'll just turn into Archer. It'll just be like, it won't break now. It'll just move like that for no reason.
A tubey grip on it'll be fine.
Okay, what could we discuss? I think Galas is a good point because we haven't really went into detail apart from Cadonas. And I would like to explain the railing incident in Granite City Comic Con.
Oh, that was tremendous. I remember, I mentioned this was, I can't remember, was it Bradley I was talking to later. It was one of these. I was trying to wrangle a crutch up for somebody else.
Yeah.
To fucking hit. It might have been Bradley at the time, trying to belt him with it, and it was just this almighty fucking clatter, and the fuck was that? And just fucking being on the fucking railings out of the fucking face. Like, fuck.
That whole day was actually, I think Comic Con's a good crowd because if anyone's going to be most likely into wrestling, most of them might be, or they've at least watched it in their life. Because it's just the type of people. That sounds horrible, but it's just the type of people.
But it's like that. But even if they're there, it's like it's a Comic Con. They're into characters, and that's essentially what wrestling is. Where I just we've all got some sort of gimmick,
but how can Bradley was saying somebody at Comic Con shouting it's all fake. I'm like, you're in Comic Con. Do you realise that the Punisher isn't a real person? Do you realise that man isn't Wolverine? I'm like, who the fuck are you talking about? You fucking weirdos. You do know this Darth Vader isn't actually Darth Vader or James Earl Jones. Oh. So, hold on, my dog's trying to get in the car. Oi! He's trying to push through the curtains. The curtains are closed, so he's just trying to push through them. Fucking idiot.
And they're running.
Yeah, down. So, I was on the first match. First match was a tag match. Archer was in it as well. That was all right, nothing special. I can't really remember any of that first match. Then I remember Darth Vader choking Ryan and Bradley.
Yes, aye.
Remember that. But then I was meant to have a match with Thunder, but something went wrong and Thunder was feeling a bit dodgy, so there was a substitution.
Yeah.
Let's bring football terms in because I love football, do it. Yeah, substitution, one of those. So it was me against Scotty. And we had a whole match, ready to go. We were like, we'll do this, finishes this. So we get in the ring. Scotty does a shine, hits me with a slam. As soon as he hits the slam, a board pings up. And it was quite badly up as well. So he's like, powder. So we just powdered outside and went a chop fest for 10 minutes on the outside. And then slid back in. I slid back in as he was coming back in. I got him and gave him a pile driver, and that was it. 10 minutes of just chopping each other around the street. But I remember coming out to Bradley, and Bradley was standing outside, and I leaned over the railing where the DeLorean was. Remember? I'm leaning over and Bradley's there, and I'm like the grizzled young vet. I was like, you know what you're doing? He's like, what the fuck? No. Aye, well, kid, just stay with me.
Aye, that was the fight. It was like a 4-on-5 or 6-on-5 or aye. Just that. Because instead of a battle royal, we had this massive tag match and it just fucking descended chaos.
Well, it was meant to be. There was a big thing then. Archer hits 619. Then there's a cover, and the cover gets broken up, and that descends into the brawl.
Yeah.
So the brawl ends up outside. I don't remember who I was hitting first. I wasn't hitting anyone for a while. I was just walking around looking for someone who wasn't busy. Because there was 6 heels, 5 new faces, so there was one too many. And then I think Scotty hit Ryan. Ryan like kind of slowed down.
Yeah.
So I just bang Scotty and boom. And then he's hitting me, and I said, "Throw me into the railing behind you." And he's like, "I haven't got my contacts in. I can't see." So he's just like, he's like, "Where is it?" And I'm like, "It's behind you." And he just went, "Ah!" And then I went over it, and as I went over, a John behind in the railing in the floor, and I'm like, "Oh, what?" And then I'm lying there, just thinking, just letting it settle, because I was like, that hurt a little bit more than I thought it would. Because I was about 3 steps into the run towards it, and I'm like, I don't want to do this now. And then Cajun came over, and he's picking him up, he's pissing himself laughing as he's doing it. He's like, that's why he came over. He's like, I couldn't stop laughing, so I had to come over and hide myself. So then we get the match done. Scotty hits the Northern Lights on me.
Yeah.
Which was meant to get broken up, but it didn't. And so the bit 1, and I wasn't kicking out. I never kicked out. I was like, I'm not kicking out. 1, 2, 3, and as soon as the 3 was over, I looked up at Chester, who was doing the referee, said, "It's not your fault." And then I just went up to the cell. I was like, "It's not your fault." Down I go. But yeah, I really enjoyed Comic-Con. I'd done it in Pataudry the year we were in Pataudry.
Yeah.
We had a 6th man. It was me, Dynamite, and Michael Graham against Brian, Archer, and Thunder. And because we were in Pataudry, I know enough about football to know certain things, and Dynamite doesn't. So I said to Dynamite, "Sing Simply the Best" when they come out. And we're singing "Simply the Best," and then Thunder came out and he didn't hear it, and then he did it, and he just went. And same as Brian was like, even Martin was like fucking raging. It's like, it's absolute sacrilege to see it in Pataudry. And like, and I think we got Michael Graham singing it as well, and I think he did know as well. But Dynamite had no clue what it meant.
Aye, Dynamite's that guy.
I told him afterwards, and I was like, "Yeah, by the way, it's a Rangers song. They're probably going to stick you." He's like, "Oh fuck, okay."
Just cheap heat.
So we're working a match. Dynamite's in. He works a little bit with Archer, and then I get in, and Tucker gets in, and we do a little something.
Yeah.
And after that, I tag out. Michael Graham comes in, does something, and then he went to tag out, but we thought we'd fuck with him, so we jumped off the apron. Because I think Dynamite was meant to get tagged back in.
Yeah.
But we're like, let's fuck with him. So we jumped off, and he's like in the ring, like, guys, come on, tag me.
Just panicking.
Tag me. And then apparently Tucker said he turned around and he was doing all that. And he was saying to Brian, "What the fuck do I do? I don't know what to do." And Brian was like, "Oh, God, what?" Oh, that was funny. But then, if we want to talk about Archer being broken, he did take a bump to the floor over the railing.
I remember, because we worked that our 2 days, and I was only there the second day.
I was there.
And then I turned up.
Wait, was it you? Was it you? Was it me? Was it you, Tucker, and Dickie? Maybe I was the second day.
Oh, possibly. I don't know. Mind. I kind of was only there the second day because I mind hearing about Archer, and like training the week before, I was like, I've got this gal coming up. I'm just gonna take it easy. Then I turned up, and he was like, I took your clothes line. What the fuck are you doing, Archer? Fucking hell.
Because I think it was it Ted? Ted was at the rail and you ran at Ted and you went like that and just bang. And I'm like, there is 2 people currently standing beside you watching this and no one else. What the fuck are you doing?
It's like, Archer, he gets carried a lot. Like if there's nobody there,
he's one of those folk who really regrets that doing it after it's done, but yet he'll do it again. He's like, I'm never doing that again. But then he'll do it again.
He went to learn for it.
So I think, was that my first gala? I think that was the first ever gala thing I worked, was Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And then after that was Stonehaven Highland Games, which is where an incident happened regarding a certain part of my body where it has never recovered to this moment. That was, I'd watched a lot of Samoan SWAT team the previous week. So I was watching like Samoan SWAT team, men, just all the Polynesian boys. Being watched. And so it was a tag match with Brian and Thunder, or was it Archer? This is when Ryan had just started. He was just doing galas, so he was a babyface. And so I get tagged in. Ryan's taking it. I punch him. Wow. He's on his knees, and I jumped. Do you know the jumping head? But the Samoans do. And as I do, my leg must have went like that and bent the other way. And so I went, and then I was like, fuck, that hurt. And then I didn't realize how much it hurt. Then I tried to put weight on it, and then I thought I was like shrinking because I was just getting shorter and shorter because I couldn't stand it. So I've grabbed Ryan by 3 of his fingers, and I'm dragging him towards Ted, saying, fuck my knee, get in the ring. Fuck my knee, get in the ring. And then a boy from my work, he told me that somebody went to see wrestling at the Stonehaven Highland Games.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, what do you think? And he's like, some daft cunt hurt his leg. I was like, it was me. So that was like near the end, so it wasn't too bad. But that was where, if you had hay fever, you shouldn't have been wrestling because the grass had just been cut. If you I took a bump to the floor and I basically swallowed all the grass. It's horrible.
I don't think I've ever worked the Highland Games at Stoney. That's one of the few I've never done. It's
kind of a hard one because it's actually quite patriotic. Because when I hurt my knee, the bagpipes were blaring. So I
remember we did the Highland Games at where was it? Old Meldrum, I want to say.
Yeah.
And the tent next to the Highland dancing. And we got to tell the fucking just calm down and be quiet because we're just at these wee lassies getting 7, 8 year olds or that in that fucking Highland dancing and we're just 10 and 9. I was like, can you just stop? And we was like, right, okay. So the name of our matches today. That's us, we're done.
Should have just offered them money. Should have just been like, no, it should have been asked for money. We're like, well, stop, we want money. That was the second ever one I watched. I was injured for a bit. And there was no shows nearby, so it was okay because I think this was just after Anarchy, just about like a month off.
Yeah, aye.
So done that, and then I think the next match I must have done would have been my match with Archer and Breakin. Then the galas next year, I done Cold Gala because it's my home. So and a few folk did recognise me. So that was like Dino. It's fucking Dino, you prick. So what match did I do? I done a tag match with me and Ted against Scotty and Connor, where I took a sliced bread and I took it like on my neck because I was like, I'm a high spots guy in the whole town.
A high angle.
And then I done a singles. This was the funniest bit. I had a singles match with Scotty, and I'm beating up Scotty, and I went to hook him for a suplex, and I looked up, and there was 3 girls that used to go to my school that were just like they obviously didn't realize it was me, and they're like, the fuck? And I'm like, that was funny. And then that ended with a big battle royal. The one we all wore Archer's bandanas.
Yeah, I was there for. I remember hearing about it.
Were you not there? I'm pretty sure I thought you were there.
No, I wasn't there for that one. I wasn't there for the Archer bandana memorial battle royal.
Yeah, we all had bananas on. Archer's like trying to piss himself off as we're coming.
Because that's just Archer's suitcase. Like he just opens it, just bandanas bursting.
Like we didn't even make a dent in the amount of bandanas that were actually there, and there was about 8 of us that had them. So we go out for the Battle Royal. Descends into madness, as it always does.
Yeah.
But the best thing about this Battle Royal was it was one of those where no one wanted to leave. So we're about 12 minutes in and not one person's been eliminated. And then it got to a point where we were waiting for Connor to do his big high spot. He was going to come off with a flying forearm and take everyone out. But he wasn't going for it. I don't know why. So no one was like waiting for him. No one was setting up for it. They're like, well, where is he? Why isn't he going for it? So then, as soon as we get hit, I caught Connor's elbow on the top of my skull, full force. So I was like, I get bust. So I'm lying on the floor. I just hear Scotty go, abandon ship. Everyone get the fuck out. And then all the eliminations happen within a minute. Because Garrick and Caleb go for the spear and he threw him over the top rope.
Yeah.
And then I grabbed Caleb. I said, duck the elbow, give him a German. And I must have got too excited. So I go for the elbow, he catch me, and I jumped too much. And I realised it was going to hurt when I was upside down. And I was like, oh, fuck, I'm so fucked. So I'm like, oh, fuck. And then I landed and I was like, oh, fuck. Then the D-Von cell, and it was like actually so painful in my shoulder. And I was like, so they froze me out, but I Andre myself as I'm leaving and wrapped my foot up in the 2 ropes. So I'm hanging there with my foot. So Garrick comes round to help me, support me, so my knees not getting like jerked on.
Yeah.
And he's hitting me and he's holding me underneath and he's pissing himself laughing as he's doing it. He's like, oh, he's like, fucking dark. Oh, eventually I got out and just fell straight to the floor. Like my boot came out and I just went down. But like, just galas are phenomenal.
That's one of the things I miss most about last year. Is just the galas.
I think whenever they're back, I'm gonna do all of them. I'm gonna try to do all of them. Did you ever do the Alvy Moore run?
I did. I did one.
How was it? Because I've been to Mackenzie's Highland Inn.
The year we went, there was only like I wasn't even watching, like 5 or 6 folk there, and it was just a nonsense. Like we were just palming each other.
Because I remember I went to Alvy Moore on holiday, and I think,
I think the one I worked would have been the last one. We kind of used to book rooms and we'd stay there the night and go to the fucking Alvy Moore's only nightclub.
Was it like the Bombo or something? Mobambo or something?
Oh, something like that.
The Bombo Club or something.
It was downstairs somewhere anyway, and it was horrible.
Well, I remember I went on holiday for a little camping trip up in Alvy Moore, and I was like, oh, Mackenzie's Highland Inn nearby. That's where the wrestling goes to. Let's go see it.
Yeah.
So we go in. It's 11 o'clock at night on a Saturday. So we go in, we sit down, and there's a band on, and the combined age of the band must have been about 565. And they're just doing a really bad Roy Orbison. They're just like, the boy's on there, and he's like, so thank you very much. He's doing like an accent for some reason, but he's evidently Alvy Moore, and he's like, this is only the lonely. He's like, only the lonely. No, and there's like 6 folk in this bar. And then I went in the toilet because I needed a shite to be dirty. And I closed the door, and then I'm like, there's like shit on the door and stuff, like actual human shit on the door and on the wall. And I'm like, what the fuck is this place? It's not the glamorous thing I hoped it would be. But Alvy Moore's got a couple of good bars. It has the Owl, the Night Owl, something like that.
The Winking Owl.
Yeah, and they've got one. It's not an actual Alvy Moore. It's like you can go out the road a bit, down past the loch.
Aye.
There's one called the Red Squirrel. That's cracked. Went in there, and there was a band. There was a boy playing, and he was playing Irish and Scottish folk songs. So he was playing. Do you know Wild Rover?
Yeah, aye.
No, never. And I'll be slapping the tables. No. Oh, fantastic. But yeah, I never done the Alvy Moore run. I think I was going to, but the last one they'd done, I couldn't do it. I know Ted went up for it.
Aye, like I said,
Ted.
The one I did was the last one they stayed over at, and then after that, I think they maybe did two more after that year, and they just drove up and drove back the same day.
It's a long fucking drive.
That's a fucking drive.
Like, then again, like we moan about long drives, having to do like Huntley and stuff. And then there's like folk in America driving 14 hours, and I'm like, oh, fuck that. Like I just wouldn't be a wrestler.
Aye. it's a cable. I was like, fuck driving 500 miles for 20 quid.
Oh Jesus! But then again, their like fuel costs fuck all.
Aye, it does.
Like it's actually nothing.
Like costs less than water.
Yeah, that's like so. No wonder it's like I drive 500 miles and I was £6 on gas. I'm like, well, I'm like 40 quid to go to Stonehaven.
They claim the travel expenses that I'm claiming for just driving to Aberdeen and back.
Did you ever do birthdays? You done birthdays?
No, I never did any of them.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I heard about they were good, but I never worked any of them.
Done one I done my first one against the match against Mr. P, and it was literally half an hour. I'm pretty sure it was half an hour.
Aye.
This match went on. I didn't want it to be half an hour, but it ended up being half an hour. I have never blown out my arse so much as I was in that match. And I'm like, at one point, he's just kicking Marsh, and it's like, I can't even sell. I'm so tired. I'm fucked.
Dave P's good at that, just winding guys and gassing them out.
And then, what is it? We done one. Archer was there. It might have been that one actually. And Archer was going to do a running with a chain as we were beating up Mr. P. And he said this before. He was like, "You better leave that ring in time because I'm not. When I swing that, I'm not stopping." And I think Ryan was like a ball hair away from getting absolutely clipped because he like slipped or something as he was leaving. And then Ryan, we done another one, and it was me, Crusher, Ryan, and I think it was Scotty and Dave P.
Yeah.
And Scotty, we're doing a handicap at the end, 3-on-2. So me and Crusher are talking to each other, and Ryan's like, "Look at me, I am the captain now," and he's pissing himself laughing at his own joke. And like he's standing on the apron, and he's like, "I'm working hard." I've got like Scotty in a hold, and like he's like giggling himself underneath. And I'm like, it wasn't that funny, Ryan. Come on. Ryan's really easy to pop though. He's so easy to pop. You can just go and go like penis, and you're like, it's so childish. I think that birthday parties are nice because it's like a gala in a way, but it's more. I think is it more serious or less serious? It's kind of hard because like you just listen to the kids. Kids shouts RKO. Oh fuck, here we go.
Yeah, the kids you just add the big moves. You pop them with the big moves. That's what they're there for.
The best one was I watched. It was me and you in Montrose. Remember our first ever singles match?
Yeah.
Remember when I shouted at your kids? and then your daughter got a kick me in the head.
Yep. That's also like she went to school the following week, and like they do this thing at school. It's like I can tell everybody your news, and I usually I kick somebody in the head. like you could see the teacher was speaking to me like a couple of days after. I was like, no, I do wrestling. She wasn't literally kicking for. Try to explain it to her. I was like, no, it's fine.
You should have kept full. You should have kept full kayfabe. You should have been like, yeah, I do wrestling. And I was in trouble, and she kicked this guy in the head, hospitalized him. But there was a group of kids at that show that were very annoying. I don't know why. I was very obviously pointing to your kids, but these kids thought I was talking to them.
Aye.
And I'm like, I'm pointing here, and those kids were over there, and like they're like, "Oh no, Dad!" And I'm like, "He's not your dad. Your dad's sitting next to you, you fucking weirdo." That match was quite good. I was nervous for that match because I couldn't think of how to put it together because I was really nervous. And that was like what was that? November 2018. So I maybe had 5 matches, 6 matches.
Yeah,
maybe. And it was and it was our first singles. So I was like, "Oh shit, this is even more nerve wracking." Because
in fact, that might have been has that been our only singles match we've had?
Yes, actually, yeah.
Every other singles match I've had has been with Ted.
Yeah, and I get Archer, and he gets you. Oh Jesus, that's true. That's our only singles match because the Archer, Ted, and Garlic were on a triple threat in the pre-show.
Yeah, because that's when I politicked my way. That was when I politicked my way out of.
Yeah,
I was meant to be in the pre-show, and I was meant to be a tag match
Yeah, it was us. It was us. It was us against Hughes and Atar. But then no, Thingy got injured. Osprey was injured.
Yeah.
And he was meant to face Garlic, so they were like, right, Garlic in the triple threat.
We'll bump Big up to the main card.
Yeah, bump him up.
That's where I got the reputation for politicking. And then, like, it might have been the Montrose before, the one before that. I was meant to be in a. Well, no, I was in a triple threat. It was when Sean was still the champ. It was me, him, and Jason Reed. And it was a non-title match, so it was fine. But like, it was at half time. Like, I was just up watching the monitor and seeing what was going on. And I just happened to mention whoever was sitting at the monitor. I was like that's tonight. That's pretty much all heels going over. Like, every match was a heel going over. And like the ones that were on, it was like a tri-counties match, so they couldn't switch the finish, so they couldn't put the babyface over, and that was like, it was other feuds going on where they couldn't change the finish. So the only one they could finish was my match because it was a non-title match.
Oh, you fucking piece of shit!
So I was like, twice in Montrose I've politicked it, and that's where I've got the reputation from. And it's a narrative.
Oh my god, that's fucking. It's the same as in like putting together like matches. Like, we'll come up with something and you come over and you're like, not for me. Maybe Archer will take a heat instead of me.
That's the thing, Archer. I like what you've done there, but how about this?
Yeah. I accept that. I accept you said that. But what about this?
But like,
I think
you and
the
Ted.
biggest one was Anarchy. Yeah.
You and Ted have got the. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but you and Ted have been involved in both the worst or one of the worst and one of the best matches that I've been in.
What, rejected ones are?
Aye.
So what's the worst one? Is it Turf?
It is Turf.
when we went about 30 minutes.
It was.
I remember watching it back, and I'm sitting there watching it. I'm like, right, that's we're near the end of the shine. I looked at the time and it was 8 minutes, and I was like, oh my fucking god! And 8 minutes in.
It's not through your guys' fault, because you guys were fairly new at this point, and I think me and Arsenal like that. In fact, it probably would have been me a bit a lot of that shine together, and it wasn't for a Turf crowd. Like, we just completely fucked it. Like,
yeah.
That was that. We could have got away with it somewhere else, but no Turf. Yeah. And it just went too long, and then the heat was going too fucking long, and like, I'm staring back at the curtain, and the guys are like, wrap it up. It's like, I'm on the apron, I can't do nothing. Like, apart from tell the ref, like, tell him to wrap it up, and it's not I can do.
But I think, like, yeah, because the refs weren't mic'd up, were they, for that one? That was the big thing.
I didn't think so.
No. Surely they would have been told, what the fuck are they doing?
I'm sure it was Dennis was the ref for our match that night.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And a couple of times I was in the corner, and I just, like, shout out on Macron, like, I'm shouting that again, like, that's 2 on 1 or whatever. 2 on 1, wrap it up. Tell him to wrap it up. But yeah, that one's not on you guys. It was just that. It wasn't the match for Turf.
Actually, the weirdest thing was it didn't feel like it was that long until we came back, and I think it was Scotty that said, "How long do you think you went?" And I'm like, we're a bit over, like 12 minutes, and he's like 24 minutes. I'm like, oh my fucking god! I was like, well, that's a pushover.
Because that was the one where was it Arspan came out at the end.
Yeah, to hit you with a table.
And then we dropped you with someone, and you were in completely the wrong fucking corner. I just had to like kind of just boot you at the fucking road. Like.
Oh yeah, was it me? I know, I think it was Ted. It
was one of you. I can't remember which one it was, but I was like, you just ended up in the wrong fucking corner. I'm like, fuck off. But yeah, that was the like one of the worst matches I've ever had. And then like one of the best ones was the one we had at Anarchy, the triple threat tag match.
Well, I had another good one that only involves the 4 of us, and it's Inverurie. Remember, for the titles. I thought that was quite a good match. Well, you finished Ted with your thing.
Well, he claims we dropped him on his head, but
I just don't think there was a nice way. Well, there probably is a nice way to take it, but
there is.
I was lucky. I'm tall, so I didn't have to do it.
Well, I don't want to bury him, but if you done a bottle of land, then it's fine.
But that was a good match. I thought.
I enjoyed that. That was one of the better ones. But yeah, like I said, the triple threat anarchy we had. That's up there with one of the best matches I've been in.
The triple threat anarchy was, when we were putting it together, was the most politicking you have ever done. Of like playing the veterans card of like, well, what that kind of diap because got it. I do wish we had more time though.
Yeah,
like 12 even. I think we could have had a lot more ideas. Remember, I wrote out a fucking whole notes thing about it. And you were like, nay, chumps. Nay, chumps. We've only got 10. I'm like, oh, okay.
I like that, but let's save it for another show.
Yeah, I like that. Maybe we'll do it next time. We just never face each other again.
But no, that was a solid wee match. That one, like, I enjoyed that because even though again I was like 6 guys in a match, you're not getting your heel stick in, but it's everyone got something out of there.
It was fun. We were very creative about it.
Yeah,
I think it was done very well for having 3 teams, and it wasn't like, just stand on the apron and so do everyone's like. Only at the start really did we actually stay on the apron. We were never on the apron again, basically till the end.
Yeah.
But I just think it was done well because we could have easily just went down the route of, well, it's just a triple threat until they tag out, and then we could have easily just done that, but it wouldn't have been.
We'll just have the heat, 2 guys beating up the face, and then be a hot tag,
double comeback or 3 hot tags, and then the babyface takes out both the heels that are coming in. We could have done that, but different. It was really hard to think of though, especially like because like let's say like I come out, I'd say, what if we do it here? And then you'd be like, well, we can't because of this. And then maybe like Ryan would come up with something, and then Archer would be like, we can't because of this. It was a nightmare to put together. But then when we got the formula, we're like, yeah, this is so easy. Why did we not think of this before? But do you remember before the show when we were like in the ring, just going over like the positioning of it and stuff, just like walking through it, and there was, like I was like really fucking nervous. I was like shitting my pants.
Like you get like that anyway before matches. Like regardless of it's anarchy or not.
Yeah, I'll get less nervous for anarchy than I will for like a birthday party in front of 10 kids. I'm like, these kids are gonna bother me. But I got really nervous, and I was tiring myself out because I was so nervous. So I got backstage, and Ted had Red Bull, cans of Red Bull. I have never drunk Red Bull in my life until this moment. And I tanned about 8 bottles, and then I'm standing behind the curtain. I'm like, fucking. But the moment that made me shit myself was Martin's music played, so we came out through the door, no, waiting in the foyer.
The foyer.
Yeah, waiting in the foyer, or the foyer. I said that's a really weird accent. We're waiting in the foyer, and I'm like, I always look down and I kick my feet a lot when I'm like just before I go to the car because I'm thinking and I'm trying not to be nervous. And then Martin goes, "Good evening, Aberdeen," and the big roar happened, and I just went like this to Ryan. I just went, Ryan said that when he heard that big roar, he thought he was going to shit himself. Like legitimately, he was like, "I'm going to shit myself. I'm going to pass out here," because it was their first time teaming together as well.
So I say, was that the first anarchies you had worked on the main card?
On the main card, yeah, we'd done the pre-show before.
I think Bradley had been on. He'd been out with Mr. P the year before.
Bradley had never been.
He'd never worked on the main card as such. Like he'd been on the
because we'd done that Battle Royal, which was actually quite good.
Yeah, and I think Bradley was in the one year before. He was in a tag match.
Yeah, it was him and Thunder against Nathan and Malice.
Yeah, aye.
Because that was the first show I helped out on.
So yeah, like that was the first anarchy. The 4 years had been in a main card.
Yeah.
Match.
And it like I made this on like a Twitter post in response to my own one and to my on my real Twitter page, and not my not safe for work one, not my OnlyFans Twitter. This was my real Twitter. I made a comment like when I got in the ring and I stood in the ring and I looked around, I legitimately nearly cried. I was like, holy fucking shit. I was like, that sounds like so cliche and cheesy, but it's like a childhood dream kind of.
Yeah.
So like, because I remember my first ever match standing in the ring when Thunder got in the ring, and I was like, this isn't real. No way am I actually standing in a wrestling ring. And then when it got to Anarchy, and I just looked around and I saw like 900 folk that were there. I was like, oh my fucking god, what the fuck is going on? And I was like, I was so buzzed because of it, but I was also like, there is 900 people here to see my mistakes if I fuck up. But the pile driver got a good pop, and that's all I was looking for.
See, I'm not so bad with that. I handle a bigger crowd better. I think. Like the first Anarchy I worked was the one with fucking in the ballroom with Devon, and that was like a solid like 1,000+ fucking crowd, and I was fine. And it's like this. It's a lot of the smaller crowds that I fucking get the bigger, like the one worked with Devon. I was like, guys come up to us, like, you nervous yet? It's like, no. And it wasn't until like the 10th, 11th, 12th guy come up saying, you're nervous yet? It's like, I am now. You fucking keep mentioning it.
Well, that's the thing. I get nervous long before the show starts.
Yeah.
Because I'm worried in advance. Like for Anarchy, I was nervous the night before. I'm standing in the leisure centre and we've like kind of semi set up the ring and put the stuff in.
Yeah.
And I'm looking around and I'm like, okay. Ooh.
That was the only downer about that Anarchy. It was in the leisure centre as opposed to the ballroom.
If it was in the ballroom, I could have retired after. I could have easily just been like, there, let's just call it there. I'd be like, this doesn't get better than this. It's I've done shows and stuff at school, like school shows and stuff, because I wanted to go to the parties afterwards. And I used to get asked to go in them because I was funny, quote unquote. So I done one in the international school. Sorry. Done one there, and I done one in the art centre in town.
Right. Okay.
And the one at the art centre was it was like a semi-important role. I played a hippie. I posted a picture on Twitter.
I saw that, yeah.
Of me dressed as it. I played a hippie. It was We Will Rock You, the Queen.
Yeah.
And so I was like a semi-important role. And when you're on the stage, well, like the art center, because it's professional, there's lights.
Yeah.
You couldn't see the crowd really. You had to really focus if you want to see the crowd, which I think is better because you don't feel as nervous. But then that's I think that would be a thing with the ballroom. If like there's lights, you wouldn't see the crowd as much.
Yeah.
Maybe you'd see a certain amount back.
It's kind of like you're saying, it's darkened to a point.
Well, when I done the pre-show, we came out for the Battle Royal. I was like, yeah. And I looked to try and see my dad. I texted my dad before and I was like, where are you? And he's like, oh, I'm at the second rung to the middle, the back. And I'm like, all I could see was this, a phone like a mile in the air like that. Recording. So that's the thing, you just see like the people close to you. But then some of the other smaller venues have that as well. Like the town halls, like Brecon had like a full lighting setup.
Aye, there's a few of them like that where you can
Stonehaven.
Montrose is like that. If you can get the lights off in that one, it's a full like. There was one year I'm sure it was Michael Graham who filmed that one, and he filmed the whole lot into the lights, so you can't see a fucking thing. The whole.
I mean, that just adds so much to a show. The lighting, it's so minor. Like if the venue's got it, why not? You know
like the ballroom, the leisure centre. If you could turn off like one strip of lights, or two strip, again, you turn off the ones at the sides. But it was like it was a case where they're either all on or they're all off. There's no in between.
That's shite. I think there should have been. You'd think they would, because then like when they're doing football and shit like that, you could split the room. You have curtains. You'd think they could just have one on and have the other one off to try to save some money. But then typical Aberdeen, isn't it? So like, I remember doing it in pre-game with the lights on, and that was the same. It's like you wanted to shout abuse to the crowd or whoever was shouting at you, but you had to like look over the apron and go, "Man, fuck you, kid." But the ballroom just like I think it's one of the best venues for wrestling.
I've said this before, like
it just is
numerous times. It's one of the best venues for wrestling, not just in Aberdeen, but just one of the best venues in wrestling.
In Britain, at least, it's one of the best. Probably Europe, the world. Fuck it, Madison Square Garden ballroom. I'm going to the ballroom. But the thing that makes it good is because now you've got a lot of venues people do. They're on the stage like they used to do years ago.
Yeah.
Like where everyone's one-sided. It's one-sided. The ballroom's like semi-not. You know what I mean? Because you can get people coming the sides.
Yeah, aye.
That makes it better, in my opinion, because you're working a full circle. And I remember the first one I helped out at was the one where you had the hair versus belts match.
Yeah.
And there was the Tri-Counties ladder match and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was sitting up in the balcony at the side. And I was just looking, and you're looking at the crowd, and you're like, there's a lot of fucking people in here. You're like, holy shit, it's surprisingly a lot. But I remember the boy getting the boy at work. Somebody got pissed off.
I'm sure that was the year that was the first year they hadn't sold it out beforehand. So they were planning on keeping the balcony shut. They were just going to just do the floor.
But then people just kept going.
There was enough walk up that they had to open the balcony up and get folk up there.
That's where I worked. I was Rikishi, Hornswoggle, and Melina. Melina's an absolute sweetheart. Rikishi's cool as well. Hornswoggle was all right, I suppose. I liked his match. I didn't really speak to Hornswoggle, so I can't really comment.
Yeah, he was sound as fuck. Well, but I spoke to him. He was sound as fuck.
But it's just even like helping out with staff there was ace. It just felt weird because you felt nothing feels more professional than being in the ballroom. You feel like it feels like you're part of a massive company.
Yeah.
You're like, fucking, I went in the ballroom. Like,
see, I never staffed a show at the ballroom because I started the week after Anarchy 2014, and by 2015 I was already on shows. So I was on the show 2015, so I never staffed a show at the ballroom.
So like that was the first time I done, and I got the easy job because there was, I think, Ted and a couple other folk got the bad job of having to stand down around with all the fans, and I was like, yeah, I'm up in the balcony doing the merch. I can do what I want. But I remember somebody ran to the merch to keep an eye on the merch because we were taking turns. There was somebody watching the match each time. And Crusher had just booted Scotty.
Yeah.
So I came running through the match to tell them. I was like, Crusher's just booted Scotty, everyone. I was just telling all the trainees. Because nobody knew the finishes or anything back then.
No. The trainees aren't clued in.
Then,
in fact, I'm sure that one, most of the boys weren't clued in on that.
Yeah, because it keeps your reactions realistic.
Yeah.
But I remember the Anarchy After I was more nervous for Anarchy After, not just because I was on it, but because Chavo Guerrero was there. And I was like, fucking hell. Because I was like, Rikishi, I was like, yeah, I watched a bit of Rikishi. And like, Melina, yeah, I watched a bit of Melina. I was like, Chavo Guerrero, holy shit, I'm going to beat Chavo Guerrero. And he was standing talking to
That was the same show, was it?
No, it was the next year.
That's what I said. Chavo was the one with Santino.
Yeah, Chavo Santino.
Aye, yeah. No, I get it. Aye.
I remember like shaking his hand and I'm like, hello, Mr. Guerrero, sir. I kind of wanted to drop to my knees and go, ooh, Chavo. That's the thing though, people tell you not to be marks for people, but you can't help it. In all honesty. It's really important. Like Mal is having a tattoo of Mick Foley. I mean, like, you don't get that more than that level.
that was like the show he was at. Like, we were the first match on that card, and he wasn't there. Like, he'd done the sign in, then he went back to his hotel or whatever to get someone to eat or whatever. So he wasn't. It wasn't on. He wasn't at the venue when we went out. And then we came back through the curtain, and he must have turned up like literally as our match started, and he just sat down in front of the curtain. So we come back through the curtain, he's sitting like that was the first time he actually won the belts, and Foley's sitting there and I just cheered and watching this. I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah, there's like moments that happen. It's like it's surreal as fuck. Like you're like, no way. Like because you see them on TV. This is very cliche, but like you see them on TV, and you're thinking, I'll never meet them. And like I'm shaking hands with Chavo Guerrero and Santino, and I got a picture of Rikishi. That's wild, absolutely wild.
Like there's guys that brought in like Devon.
Sorry,
Devon was a massive one, and like the first 2 years they gave me the imports, and I genuinely thought they were just pulling my leg both years. Like the first year it was Devon, and apart from like I worked Union Square and I worked every fucking match in that car pretty much. But like on shows, that would have been like my 5th or 6th match at the time. And it's like, you're getting Devon in a fucking fuck off.
So who's winning in the import numbers, you or Dave?
It might be a tie because like I had Devon, then I had 3 imports the following year. So that's me on 4. I think Dave's had Rikishi,
he had Park,
Chris Masters, X-Pac, and I'm sure
no, he wasn't with Holly.
No, it was not Holly. That was the year he had Chris Masters.
No, Billy Gunn wasn't him either. That was Rob Cage, was it?
Yeah. I'm sure there's one where I'm missing, but I'm sure we're tied on 4 each. Well, I was saying Archer will be 5 because Archer worked the match with X-Pac.
Oh yeah, so he did.
So Archer will be he'll have worked the most imports.
That's like a hell of a thing for like a wrestling CV. It's like, who have you worked? Well, Masters, X-Pac, Rikishi, Carlito. I mean, like, you put that on a CV, that's like, yeah, you've got a job, mate. Who worked Chavo again? Bingo,
yeah.
The match with Santino and Grado was absolutely phenomenal. That's the one
that was tremendous.
That was it was when Santino like ducked a clothesline with the splits and came back up, and then I was like, that's it. Or they spent literally 5 minutes high-five each other, and it was counting as tags. That was incredible. Oh, it's not even. Oh,
it's like they can exactly what they're doing. They've been in it long enough.
Well, here's a question for you. I know it's your podcast. So I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to get booked against Raven or Taker. Which era version / of each would you like?
Well, Raven's get to be the ECW version when he first came in.
Is this when he's like feuding with Dreamer?
Yeah.
Doing the whole I've stole your kid and your kid's now mine.
Basically,
Sandman, is it? Is that Dreamer or Sandman? That's Sandman.
No, it was Sandman. That was Sandman. Yeah. But yeah, the early ECW, like when he first debuted as Raven, when Stevie Richards brought him in. That's the right. Like he was good in WCW, but then they gave him a shit gimmick. Can you?
What was it, Scotty Flamingo or something?
No, but when he was Scotty Flamingo in WCW, then he came back as Raven after he'd worked on ECW, and they gave him the gimmick. He was still Raven, but he was like his mum and dad were like millionaires, whatever. So he was like rich kid Raven. And it didn't work.
Is this when he had the flock with like Perry Saturn and that in WCW?
Yeah. Like it was good.
Billy Kidman.
But then they just ruined it by giving him a spoiled fucking kid. Like, what about Raven?
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't work. But I didn't think it would.
It's kind of like that a rebel child. That's what
basically
they were trying to make him.
I say it wasn't the same as the ECW Raven, I didn't think.
No.
But so yeah, like the ECW Raven that's the one I would work. And Undertaker,
Ministry.
See, I just
or like when he was doing his run with Sid, when he got the belt with Sid.
It's too hard. Like every era Undertaker, you could argue is the best one. Like obviously, like when he first came in, that was when I was fucking all over wrestling. I was that fucking early 90s, I was like 6, 7 when he first came in. So that was my first exposure to him. But then, like, obviously, I was saying the Ministry Undertaker, he was mental. And then fucking, you had the fucking American Badass fucking Taker.
And then you had Big Evil.
Big Evil, and then it would be one of the early ones. I would have thought.
Mhm.
It
I
would
wasn't a fan of his proper early, like when he had the grey.
Yeah,
I liked when he just like I said, when he's like around the time when he's winning the belt for Sid and stuff.
aye.
He's like he's not in the ministry yet, but he's getting there.
Like
He's WWF Warzone era.
he did the Undertaker versus Undertaker match, and he'd come back with the purple gloves and
Yeah. When he's feuding like Mankind.
yeah, aye. So yeah, that's maybe like aye. When you're saying he's feuding with Mankind, that's Mankind and Kane. That kind of era Undertaker was probably the one I'd go for.
I'd probably go Big Evil, or when he came back after Kane buried him at Survivor Series.
Yeah.
So he was a biker, but he was like a dead biker.
Like I enjoyed like the last one you were with Styles when he came back. You know, again Styles again him again just Mark Calloway or whatever, and he came back with it. He was like, he did come back as like the American badass Big Evil Undertaker, but he was still the Undertaker.
Yeah.
Like I enjoyed that. So yeah, it's
yeah.
But you could argue any fucking era is.
I mean, there's so much people I would like vanity boot. You know, you've got obviously Taker, Hero, Chris Hero.
Yeah.
Like
you're like Bradley though. You're a big. Your guys are like long before your fucking era. Like fucking
most of them, yeah.
Hanson and Funks and
I think when I was like I said, that's when I was growing up. Like it was Cena, Taker. Taker has always been my favorite. Always will be.
Yeah.
So it was like Taker, Batista, Cena, Guerrero, and I did see a little bit of DDP when he was in WWE. When he's doing positively, he's had a smile. I mean, I didn't like it, but I like DDP. I think
DDP was great. Like I wasn't a big WCW guy, but like I knew enough to know DDP and WCW.
Yeah. So when I stopped watching wrestling, like 2009, 2010, whatever. I didn't get back into it till 2015.
Right.
So, and that was apparently quite a bad year as well for coming back to wrestling. That was when I started watching it and I didn't know anyone. I was like, who the fuck's Dean Ambrose? Who the fuck's Seth Rollins?
What are we, 30? WrestleMania 31? 30, 31?
No, we're well past 31.
No, but like 2015 would have been.
2015,
would have been 30, 31.
31, yeah, because I watched 32 where it was Reigns and Triple H in the main event.
Yeah.
The next year. That was.
That year was alright. I was like, it's what it is. Like that. Like as we record this WrestleMania tonight, and I've got fucking the interest in watching it anyway. Because I haven't watched, like I didn't watch the Rumble. Like last year, all I watched was the big pay-per-views, like the Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. That's all I watched last year. I didn't watch the Rumble this year.
Even then, like I won't watch shows all the way through. I'll just watch matches I'm interested in.
Aye.
You know what I mean? I'll be like, oh, he's facing him. I'll watch that. I'll probably get some good stuff out of that. But I like watching really obscure, stupid shit. Not like obscure good shit that everyone else watches. I just like watching any old shit. And I'll go to like the High Spots Network or YouTube, and I'll just be like, one of my favorite things to do is to type in a country and then wrestling and see what wrestling promotion comes up. So I've watched Russian wrestling. I watched Dubai Pro Wrestling, which has a guy doing a Conor McGregor gimmick, except he's a bit Tweety Stone heavier and he stiffs the fuck out of everyone. I've watched Egyptian. I've watched what was it? There was a country that had a really good wrestling scene. Oh no, this isn't the one I'm thinking of. But Sevilla, I think it is Sevilla wrestling. That's Spain. Sevilla's Spain, is it?
Sevilla.
Is it Sevilla? Seville. Sevilla. Where the fuck you want to?
Oh, Seville.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aye.
Is that Spain? Yeah.
That's Spain. Aye.
Spain
or Portugal. It's one of the two.
Yeah. So I watched one of them, and they're like the prime example of. There's so much potential, but Jesus, someone needs to tell them like this. Like there's a man there though who comes out and he's like Tweety Stone, but he wears a Scott Steiner chainmail.
Aye.
Right? So he comes out like that, and he's about 50 years old. He's about Tweety Stone, and he's doing dives like through the rope and landing on his feet. It's fucking wild. It's insane. But there's so much guys there that like there's so much potential, but the basics are lacking, as in most places are.
Aye.
I mean, like me and Ryan ages ago watched one of the shows, and there was a guy who could hit the Tetsuya Naito's finisher, the Destino. So it's like he gets in like a snapmare,
Yeah.
comes over, flips back into like the reverse DDT. He could do that, but he couldn't run the ropes. And I was like, that's just annoying. But I love watching like bad wrestling. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's fantastic. So, as I was saying about wrestling, I stopped watching wrestling. We came back, and I'd heard of like Ring of Honor and stuff. I've seen a couple of Ring of Honor clips when I was younger, because YouTube, the internet existed. You know, I'd actually seen bits of Chris Hero versus Daniel Bryan, and they were in like, I can't remember if it was just a hardcore match or if it was a chain match, but they were wrapped up in their wrists. They were locked in chains. Yeah, it was on a PWG show, and I used to watch TNA when I was younger. I discovered TNA. Me and my brother were watching it, like AJ Styles, Sonny Siaki, and Frankie Kazarian, Christopher Daniels, and then DDP joined. Yeah, DDP was there for a bit. Raven was there. Feud of Abyss. Remember that? Rhino came in. Kurt Angle then. Samoa Joe. It was just TNA didn't get better than 2004 to 2006. It's the best TNA. Fantastic. You know, it's like there was a few WWE guys that were there, but Christian was ace. AJ Styles was phenomenal. Phenomenal. Christopher Daniels was fucking ace. My brother loved Frankie Kazarian because he used to do like the half Spanish fly off the top rope. Yeah. Which looked like it kills people because it just didn't look like a clean landing, but it probably is fine. My brother used to try and do it to me, and you know, because I was really thin when I was younger, so my brother just used to throw me around. So he'd like crush my ribs, he'd hurt me. He once done a backflip, tried to do a moose on me, but he landed knees first on me. It was I never done like the proper backyard, and as people did do. Yeah, but
that was the same. I had a brother, and we just not fuck at each other.
We had a trampoline, and we had replica belts. So of course we started a promotion. It was, what was it called again? I have a phone somewhere with videos on it of our matches in the house. Not in this house, I think it's in my brother's, because he's kept it. And we also done Jackass, of course we did. We made our own Jackass, like we're running in the bushes or something, and that's our Jackass stuff.
I was that era, like I was 14, 15 at the time when Jackass came out. So I was the one that bought the fucking old school Sony fucking handy cam.
Yeah. So we were recording, like we'd record on I had an Emporio Armani phone, if you believe that.
Fucking hell.
I had an Armani phone that used to light up blue around the sides. So I used to record on that. And so we had the belts. We had John Cena's WWE spinner belt.
Yep.
We had the Intercontinental belt, like the early 2000s circular.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, we had the big gold belt, obviously. We had one of my brother's mates. He used to join us, a boy called Aaron. He had the John Cena US spinner belt.
Right.
He had the money. His family were loaded. And then we also had the old WWF championship, the really old one, like the Hogan one.
I did.
You know what I'm on about?
Yeah, yeah.
So my brother was the booker. And he was he was like Ron Gagne. He had to protect the territory. You know, he was the only one who could be trusted with the belt. And so I remember speaking to a few other guys about like their backyard experiences, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, we'd put matches together because we knew the basics, so we could do like, we would do a lock-up and work a headlock." Whereas me and my brother were just doing spot fests.
Aye.
It was like RKO, and then power bomb, and then what's your finish? Mine's is DDT. Okay, when you hit the DDT, the match is over. That was how it worked. You tell them your finish, and once you hit it, the match is over. So we used to do that. My brother was very agile. He could do backflips and shooting stars and stuff. I couldn't lift. I was a skinny little prick. I couldn't lift my brother or fuck all. So all my finishes were like RKO or DDT when I didn't have to do any lifting. But I remember there was a boy, his grandma and granda used to stay next door, and he was my dad's best mate's son, like my dad's childhood friend's son. And he was a lot younger than us. How old? He must have been 4 years younger than me. So at the time, we were like 12, maybe, and he's about 7, 8. And he wanted to have a match because he was a wrestling fan. So we had a triple threat. Of course you do. My brother. This was around the time Kofi Kingston had just came out.
Yeah.
So my brother was going to go for a Trouble in Paradise on me, but he missed, kicked the kid, and knocked his tooth out. Oh, okay. And then we discovered ECW One Night Stand happened.
Yep.
The 2 shows, 2005, 2006. So we're like, let's do hardcore matches. So now we didn't have barbed wire. We didn't have access to barbed wire or anything like that. So we had fairy lights that we pretended were barbed wire. We used to wrap no fairy lights around a stick. But then we'd watched it. This is around about the time my dad had found the Good Housekeeping match with China and Jarrett. So we're like, right, Mum's got an old ironing board. We'll take that. We've got those foldable garden chairs. We had foldable garden chairs. They were cushioned, but there was metal bars. I'm like, okay, we'll use one of them as well. And we had old mop handles and stuff. So like, right, let's do it. So I was very gentle. No, sorry. My brother was very gentle with. So like he'd have the mop and he'd like, and he wouldn't really hit me. But because I was younger and I didn't get to do all the moves, I was like, fuck you. Wow. The best spot that happened, I don't know if it was still on video. My brother set up the ironing board for the big power bomb onto the ironing board, because in our mind the ironing board would collapse as I hit it.
Yeah.
So like, so boom. So my brother tries to pick me up for an ironing board. I didn't know how to jump then, as you do now.
Yeah.
I sandbagged. So my legs over here. My brother holding me. My head's like just above his belly button, and he just dumped my neck first on the top of the ironing board, and the ironing board didn't even flatten. It just hit it and went backwards, and I fell. But it's like shit like that was so fun. And then my brother would sometimes do run-ins without telling anyone he was going to do a run-in because he was a prick. So like I had a match with my mate Greg, and my mate Greg was like a half wrestling fan. He was like, he knew John Cena, he knew like, and he only kind of watched him. He wasn't like me and my brother were diehard fans. So we wanted to create our own finishers because at this time it was SmackDown versus Raw 2007 or 8 that you created your own finishers. Like you could combine lift up for a powerbomb but switch it in an arm drag. So we're like, right, we'll create our own finishers. And I was like, my DDT, I'm going to call it the BE DDT or whatever the fuck it was, so the COVID DDT or whatever. And then my brother was like, I'm just going to do the super kick because he liked Shawn Michaels. And then my mate was like, I do the Stonehaven leg drop. Like, okay. What's the Stonehaven leg drop? Now, I thought, it's just a normal leg drop. And I told Scotty about this. So if you do another video with Scotty,
I've heard about this one before,
mention the Stonehaven leg drop. So it's where you jump up, but you cross your legs in midair and straighten them back out and hit the leg drop. That's the Stonehaven leg drop. So he'd do that, but he didn't understand wrestling as much as even we did.
Yeah.
So we're like, big strike, RKO, okay, RKO. He'd be like, we're having a triple threat, and we're like hitting each other, and then he'd just hit the Stonehaven leg drop when we're standing. And I'm like, it doesn't work like that. You need to be in the position to do it. You need to be like, we're going to do the Stonehaven leg drop. You need to slam him first. But he was just like, Stonehaven leg drop, and he'd like kick us in the leg as he's going down. It's like, what the fuck you do? That's one of my favorite memories. Yeah, another great memory was we bought the TNA Impact video game. Used to get it was 360 or whatever it was, and you got a DVD with it, and it had old TNA matches.
Yeah.
So it had Brian Christopher versus Scott Hall, and Brian Christopher. No, it's a tag match. Brian Christopher and Scott Hall against two other guys, but Brian Christopher does a heel turn, and Scott Hall turns on Scott Hall, who was definitely wrecked in that match. Then we have the other match on it was a ladder match, I think it was, between like fucking Christopher Daniels and Jeff Jarrett or something. And then the other match, which sticks in my mind to this day, was a 6-man tag. It was AJ Styles, Low Key, and Jerry Lynn against the Flying Elvises. Do you know the Flying Elvises?
I don't think so, no.
Jimmy Wang Yang. Remember Jimmy Wang Yang?
Yeah.
Sonny Siaki. I can't remember the other guy's name. I think it was Alex.
It rings a bell now that you mention it, yeah.
They dressed like Elvis.
Yeah.
And they came and they beat. This is the weirdest thing. They won against Loki, Jerry Lynn, and AJ Styles. They beat them. I was like, what the fuck? So, because when I was watching the match, I was like, they're definitely gonna lose because they're fucking Elvis gimmicks, and they won, and I'm like, what the fuck? But so we'd watch Jerry Lynn, and Jerry Lynn hits a smashing pile driver because as he always does.
Yeah.
But he hits a great one in that show, and I can see we're watching it, me and my brother, and then as soon as Jerry Lynn hits a pile driver, we go, oh! My brother just turns to me, and he's like, and I'm like, all right. So later on that night, we go practice it. So fucking stupid looking back. So my brother picks him up, gets a cradle, and then just lets go. He just opens his legs and drops me down on my head. So I just like compressed my whole head, and it was on the grass outside this house right now. And my brother was just an unsafe worker. He injured me quite a lot. But it was one of those moments nobody's done it, and he grabs me. He's like, "Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. Don't tell mom. Don't tell mom." Like when he done the backflip onto me, and he fucking landed knees first on my legs. I had to crawl inside crying. I was like, "Ah!" Oh, I'm tempted to buy a top thing again. I keep telling my dad to buy it. So yeah, I think I've got videos of them somewhere on an old phone that you've kept.
We need to see them sometime. Like, just bring them for the boys.
Yeah, I know. It's just, I dread to think what it fucking looks like now. But the best one was, this is another good little story about my brother's politicking. When I mate, he was going to be the referee because we didn't have a referee.
Yeah.
Normally, it was just you'd count your own pinfalls. That's how it should work. We didn't have the staff, you know what I mean? So it was me against my brother, and the boy was the ref. And it turns out my brother had spoke to said ref before said match and said, "Stuart's not winning, I'm winning." And he's like, "Just count my pin when you can." And I'm like, so I got to a match, and my finish at that point was a kind of like a claymore.
Yeah.
Because I'd seen Roderick Strong on like a YouTube thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know who that is, but he's hit that, and I kind of like it, so I'm gonna do that. So we're doing the match. My brother's finish was a power bomb, Batista bomb, power bomb. And we'd agreed that there'd be a near fall. Said, right, you'll hit your finish and I'll do the big kick out for the emotion. For the no one that's watching. For my grandma that's looking out the window over there. So my brother picks him up, hits a bomb. 1, 2, and I kicked out. But the boy kept counting. And my brother was like, slid out the ring like a heel stealing the wind. Like the Montreal screw job. It was the
Cove screw job.
The Cove screw job. He's standing there, and he's got the John Cena WWE belt there, and he spins it like a smug prick for the camera. I'm like, you fucking piece of shit. I was raging. I said, I'm not playing anymore. I really missed doing that. It was so fun. The pile driver gives me the fear looking back now.
And that's one of the few things I want to take as a pile driver. Like, it's not just gonna trust anybody in particular. It's just that I don't trust anybody.
Anybody, yeah.
Like, my neck's fucked up as it is, without fucking folk dropping me on it.
I mean, like, I trust myself to give it to anyone, but I would never be like,
Yeah.
"Who the fuck are you? You're not gonna fucking take it," because you can't expect folk to. You know what I mean?
Like I sort of like the one you threw Anarchy, gave it to Archer, and it looks safe enough, but it's just it's not for me.
No, I see it. There's a lot of things that folk. This is a weird thing about is like there's so much things that you don't like that you won't take, and it's weird.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, see going backwards over the top rope.
that's my standard fucking Rumble fucking exit.
I'm like, nope. But oh my God, you've just reminded me. Remember when I died at the Rumble when you eliminated me? 2019.
Oh yeah.
I died. I legitimately died because he came in. Well, first off, I interrupted someone's spot.
Yes.
The Kings of Clutch were running a spot, and I didn't see because I was like, I went in the year before. I'd run in too fast, went to do a discus elbow, and then realized no one was feeding for me.
Yeah.
So I just stomped someone, discus stomp. So I was like, I'm going to take my time going in this one and analyze who's free. And that's when the ring was really littered with folk at that point.
Aye.
So I slide in, and I see Aspen's got his back turned. He's like, I'll turn him around and I'll just give him a few shots. As I'm standing up and reaching at the same time, I look over his shoulder and I see Gervin's holding lions. I'm like, it's too late now. So I turn around and Aspen just gives me a fucking wallop. And I'm like, fuck, so I just lie down and I'm annoyed at myself. I'm like, fuck's sake. and then I'm like looking around. I'm like, I've sold this one punch for like an hour. I'm looking around, who's free? And I lock eyes with Garlic. And I'm like, okay, here we go. And then Garlic proceeds to legitimately bite me. And then he no-sells a few of my shots, headbutts me full force in the chest. And then I'm selling at the side, and I'm like on my side, like, oh. And he does a circle of the ring and drop kicks me in the fucking breadbasket, right above my crown jewels here. He just threw it, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And then we're lying. Somebody else hits him. I think it was Johnny hits Carter. Carter goes down. He's beside me, and my head's right next to his, and I just go, I fucking hate Rumble so much. And then I'm like, right, where the fuck is it? And then so you come in with your spot, you prop me on my nuts, finally. And then it's when you climbed up, and I looked, and I'm like, how the fuck am I going to take this without really getting hurt? The answer to that question is you can't, because you clotheslined me. I spun off, absolutely rattled my shoulder on the apron, and then fell straight to the floor face first. And then I just lay there for like a few minutes, and then I think Dennis or Mikkey came over, and they're like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Not really, but I'm okay."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that, I guess."
Yeah, that was it. Like, I came up with the idea. I was like, it's only gonna work if Dino's up for it. And like, Dino's like, I'll take it. I was like, fair enough.
Yeah, I'm not taking that again. Well, I probably will. But
yeah. But with that, you bury me with that last fucking story there. I think we've got a lot more. We can come back to at a later date. We can get back into some shit.
Jesus fuck! I just realised how long we've been for.
But we're wrapping this up because I'm bursting for a fucking push.
No, but that.
And the host can't go for a push mid fucking. Yeah. So
only the guest can.
We'll wrap it up there, and we'll maybe come back another time, and we'll get into more backyarding and more nonsense.
Yeah.
Because we've got a lot more we could cover.
Yeah, well, I can talk shit for ages, so it doesn't bother me.
So yeah, that's been another episode of Mickey's Mosh Pit. Thanks again to Dino Del Monte there.
Thanks for having me.
By the looks of it, we'll be back again to talk some more shite at some point. But until then, this has been Mickey's Mosh Pit, and we'll catch you next time.
Au revoir.